Pandora's box is about to open wide.
Merry Christmas, everyone. This is the Pandora's box Christmas special. This is going to be the last show for a couple of weeks, just because, you know, we're going to take some time off, being like super busy leading up to like Christmas and New Year and everything, and it's nice for us to take a little bit of time off with the family. So just that extra tiny little bit less to do will just be nice, just for a couple of weeks. Then we can come back rejuvenated in the new year. As I said, we've got a really good guest booked for mid-January. The guy that owns the Extinct, I think it's called Extinct Animals Instagram page. He works with Colossal Biosciences, you know, the lab in Texas that have brought back, you know, the dire wolves, and are working on bringing back the dodo and the mammoths and stuff like that. And he just knows the dodo. Yeah. He knows like so much about, extinct animals, about ancient megafauna and dinosaurs and stuff like that, and ancient, you know, aquatic marine reptiles and you know, all the, like the pterosaurs.
It's like heaven for you, man.
Oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. So yeah, that'll be like for anybody that's interested in wildlife in general, but specifically like prehistoric wildlife, dinosaurs and stuff. That's going to be a really good one. So yeah, really looking forward to that. We've got loads of cool Christmassy facts for today. Gonna because I feel like there's so many like Christmas traditions, aren't there? But like you don't really ever stop to think, where did this specific tradition come from, or like when did it start? And I think
it's just there.
Yeah, but then once you do know it, you think that's really interesting, actually. Like this wasn't even one I planned, but did you know, like you know, there's like a tradition of like Christmas ham. You know, like everyone usually has like ham like in the evening or whatever. Do you know where that tradition? Yeah, like do you know where that tradition comes from of Christmas ham? Do you know that like the Anglo-Saxons and the Vikings on Yule used to it was like tradition on Yule to hunt a boar, and then so obviously you'd kill the boar. I think they'd like capture the boar, and then I think they'd sacrifice it to the gods, and then they would all eat boar. They'd all eat, which is hog, you know, which is essentially, you know, pig ham. And that tradition has literally carried on from the Anglo-Saxons and the Vikings right through to modern day. But obviously, rather than us, you know, at 3 p.m. in the afternoon going out and hunting a boar, we should
go get it from Sainsbury's.
Yeah, you just go get it from Sainsbury's instead, and then just slice off some ham. And even though you already feel stuffed from earlier on, you just eat some ham for some reason. But that's interesting, isn't it?
Nice.
Yeah,
man. Yeah,
like because you never think like, oh, why do people eat ham in the evening on Christmas? But that's why.
It's like etymology, isn't it? It's like to know where something comes from at a deeper level is just so much more interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bit in a way. I can imagine it'd be a bit more fun actually hunting the boar than just stuffing yourself.
Yeah. If that was a Christmas tradition that we did every year, that'd probably be one of my favorite parts of Christmas.
Imagine it's like into the
forest and going on a hunt.
You know, you like after you have your Christmas dinner or whatever at like, I don't know, like 12, 1, 2 p.m. and then you like let your food rest for an hour, and then it's like, right guys, grab your spears, it's time to go hunt some boar. And be like, hell yeah.
Yeah, we go on like a Christmas walk in the morning, like every year for the last, say, like 3 or 4 years, and that feels really nice. Just like, especially if it's like a nice fresh day, just to have like, because not really many other people are out and stuff, so it's always just like really quiet, and just go for a real nice like walk to get fresh air on Christmas morning, and that before the presents and stuff. So yeah, that's quite a nice one. But yeah, if there was boar hunting,
if there was horse. There was horses. Yeah, if there were horses, then that'd be extra good. Nice one. So would this be your little lad's second Christmas?
Yeah, second Christmas, probably first one where he might have a bit of an inclination of what's going on with the presents and stuff.
For the first one,
he might actually be able to open some presents.
Yeah,
I'm hoping anyway.
I remember Evie's first Christmas. I expect it was the same with Angus last year. It was like, she was like more interested in the wrapping paper than actually what was inside, because they're all like sensory and it's all about texture and stuff. So she'd like open like a little present and it would be like, you know, like a little wind up penguin thing that you put in the bath that like swims if you wind it up, sort of thing, you know. And then she would almost just be more interested in just like the crinkle and the rustle of the paper just going like,
I love that when you see that with like kids and babies and stuff. It shows you just like they don't need all these toys and everything. They're just happy with some pots and pans or a spoon. I give Ruben a spoon and he thinks he's got a wand or something. He's just, this is amazing. Just running around with a spoon. Yeah. It's like you don't need all these crazy presents and that. Just a bit of wrapping paper, some spoons, maybe a pot and pan.
Of good old box as well. Can't go wrong with a big box. Yeah. Kids love boxes. Kids and animals love boxes.
I love it when they're so small as well that you can put them in a box or something and then like drag them around with the box.
Yeah. They freaking love that as well, man. They love that, you know. Yeah, you can have like it's like a sled-sized box, good for dragging, and then like a bigger one. They could pretend it's like a little house or a little fort or something. Awesome. Yeah.
Poke a hole out in the window.
Yeah, fun for days, man. Yeah, fun for days. Yeah. By the way, everyone. Yeah. So Imogen is not with us this week. She's we're actually recording this on Rag Day, the time-old tradition of Rag Day, the venerated tradition.
I wonder why that's called Rag Day. Oh, is it? No, I was going to say because your rags are like your normal clothes, isn't they? It's like I don't know whether it came from
on the rag,
like, you know, like
because they're on the rag, mate.
Everyone in college on the same day. Even the guys.
Oh my god! Yeah.
But I wonder what. I don't know that. Do you know why?
I have no idea, man. I have no idea. I have no idea why it's called Rag Day. No, this is another interesting fact that we'll have to find out. But yeah, it's really funny though. I was saying to Drew yesterday. I was talking to Imogen.
I bet a lot of people don't even know what we're talking about.
No, yeah. So Rag Day is like something you go to. I mean, I assume all colleges do it.
It's not in college, isn't it?
Yeah, not just the one that we went to.
Is it just College, or is it other colleges as well?
I have no idea. But yeah, Rag Day is, you know, it's like just before Christmas in college. You go out and you could. A lot of people dress up, but it's not like mandatory. Mm-hmm. And you essentially get wrecked with everybody. And like back in our day. Back in sort of like, you know, 2000 and sort of like 7, 8 when me and Drew would have been in college, like there'd be like at least one gig in town, and there'd just be like students everywhere going on like pub crawls and everything. I just remember just like having so much fun. You just like, so I didn't even actually go into college on Rag Day. I don't think I have actually any memory of going into college on Rag Day. I just, you know, you just like meet up with your mates, then just like
party day.
Yeah, just like start going on a pub crawl. And then my favourite Rag Day memory when I dressed up as a cowboy was just ending up in there was this venue in Bridgewater. It was just like the Labour Club, which is really freaking weird, isn't it? That was like for a little while like the music hotspot of the town.
It's always been the best as well from memory for me.
Me too. I think that was like my favourite memory of like going to gigs back in the day. Which is quite weird because it was quite like a small little venue in that, but it just really worked. It worked, you know.
So good.
It was great. The amount of just amazing nights there. But I just remember there was like this gig there, and just getting like absolutely freaking hammered and just dressed as a cowboy. But I remember I had like a black cowboy hat on and like a long leather black coat, and I remember everyone just kept up to me pissed, and they thought I was dressed as the Undertaker. Oh, good Undertaker outfit, man. I was like, I'm a cowboy actually, but you know, yeah, whatever.
I'll take that.
But if it was an Undertaker, it would have been a bit rubbish because I think underneath I was wearing like blue jeans and almost like, you know, almost like a lumberjack shirt, like tucked into my jeans with like a big belt buckle, which would have been a bit like, you know, cowboy Undertaker, you know. But I guess if you saw me from behind, then I would fully look like the Undertaker, you know.
Yeah, we both had those long leather jackets. I think we were the only ones that had like our mate group that had like those.
I still got it.
Really cool.
I still got it, but for some reason, I just don't.
Mine's checked out now.
Oh, is it? That's such a shame.
Why was it all like ripped and stuff?
Oh,
so
that's a shame.
Yeah, I got chucked out of Weatherspoons once wearing it, and all the buttons ripped off it, and like the inside ripped because they grabbed me and like literally.
What the security did?
Outside. Yeah.
Why did they do that?
Yeah. I puked up in the toilet of Spoons.
So they were like, right, we need to body slam this guy right now.
Well, like I puked up in the toilet of Spoons, and then someone told security.
Someone told on you.
and I was like at the bar, like
Mate.
getting another drink.
Snitches
and,
get
like,
stitches.
You know, refilling, and then like he said, "Come on, you got to get out," and I was basically like, "No, like why? Like you know,
this is my puke den.
like, really drunk."
This is
and
my
then
puke den.
I
Mate.
just wouldn't go. So then he grabbed me and like pulled me out, and yeah.
And he destroyed your freaking leather duster, mate. Your
My
leather
real
freaking
nice,
coat.
like £150 leather.
Yeah, nice long leather coat, and that was probably like £150 back in like 2005, not like £150 now.
Yeah, I think it was around that anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember because you used to wear it all the freaking time.
Yeah, I love that.
I never really used to wear mine because I felt like it was one of those things that I thought was cool, but I just don't think it really suited me. I don't really think it like suited me great.
Bit of a statement.
It's a bit of a statement. Yeah, no, but yeah, it kind of is, isn't it? Like it is. But
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then it's not very often you see him about. You gotta like, you know what I mean? It was almost like.
Yeah, like
I did get taken the mick out quite a lot.
Did you like? What would people say?
Well, do you know when you just see like people like looking at you like, what the hell's that guy like dressed like?
I thought it was cool, man. I thought it was a really cool look, and I think because hardly anybody does it, that gives it worth. You know what I mean? It looks cool. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like how many people do you see walking around in like a freaking like leather jacket down to your freaking ankles, man? That's great.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really cool. Yeah. I think it's a good look.
That's why we're friends.
Yeah, man. Yeah, as I said, I've always liked a leather jacket of regardless of length. I've always rocked, you know, like the shorter leather jackets. I guess like maybe what like I don't know, like I guess people would see it as like a biker jacket, but it's not actually a biker jacket. Do you know what I mean? But
sometimes it's got like a zip on it, like some zips.
Yeah, like a couple of zips. I'm also a real fan of one with like some coloured stripes like on the arm.
Oh yeah, I remember that one where you had like quite a short one and it had like a red, like a really dark red stripe on it.
Like a maroon,
like
almost
cool.
like a maroon one. It had like two stripes on the arm. And then one like going across almost at the chest as well, and the rest of it was black.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That was really, really nice. Yeah, it's almost like it's weird. It's like that's just like almost a little bit too small for me nowadays, so I don't really wear it. But I actually got a new one a couple of months back. I splashed out in Lakeland in Clark's Village, mate. And it's really nice because Lakeland, it's like you know, it's from like I think it's from the Lake District.
Scotland?
No, it's the Lake District. So yeah, I mean far up north, but yeah, it's from like Cumbria essentially. It's like an English company, from Cumbria in the northwest of England that make them, and they're all just like real nice leather jackets. And I got a new one, and it's similar to that one that we were just talking about, but the stripes on it are more like creamy coloured rather than red. But and I remember I also had one very similar to what I just described to my latest one back when I was a teenager, back when I was like 17, 18. If you look at any of the pictures of us, you know, like the first Czech tour, you didn't go on that one. Do you remember? Like it was like you didn't go on that. You went on the second one, and the third one, I think, and I went on the first one and the second one. But yeah, in the first one, if you look at all the pictures of that, I'm pretty much wearing that leather jacket in all of them. But that was like a real cheapo one. It was like fake leather. Like it still looked cool, but I'm pretty sure I bought it in. I think there used to be like what was it called? Like B-Wise or something in like Angel Place in Bridgewater, and I think I bought that randomly when I was like 16 for like 30 quid or something. Do you know what I mean? It was like quite a cheapo one. But that was one of those ones where, like, I think I just lost it one night when I was freaking hammered. Like, I honestly could not tell you where that went.
The amount of clothes that have gone in that way is so annoying that you just don't know where they are like anymore, and they were like really cool and you really liked them at the time.
Oh man, absolutely gutting. Yeah, I think it was just like wasted at a gig, and then like I put it down somewhere, wasted, and then just freaking left and went home, and then that was it. Do you know what I mean? Like left and went home without picking it up, and then that was it. Just like somebody probably thought, oh, this looks pretty cool, and just like pikeyed it or something. Like I don't know. To be honest, maybe if I'd went back, then they might have still had it there. I don't know, but yeah, I didn't. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame, isn't it? It's a sad one.
Yeah, I recently got my granddad's old leather jacket, and it's really cool. But it's like it looks like proper Del Boy.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like just like a normal kind of like, it's got some buttons on it, just like your standard like leather jacket, but it's a bit like quite thick. It's not like a streamlined one. It's just like quite a big one, and it's just below your waist, so not long, but like not really short. It's kind of like in the middle. But yeah, like standard. But I wear that sometimes, and it's really comfortable, and like really like if it's proper windy outside. That's what I like about leather jackets. They're proper windproof, but still warm, even though they're quite thin. So they're like, you know, it's real good for that stuff. But yeah, I look a bit Del Boy in it rather than like cool or anything, you know.
Yeah, but that's still a good. I feel like that was like the look of our grandfather's generation was a bit Del Boy, because my granddad John always looked a little bit like a Del Boy. Do you know what I mean? The sort of the jackets and the hats and that he would choose to wear, like, you know. But
yeah, I got that little peak cap and that on. Yeah, like, what, mate? What, geezer?
Yeah, for sure. I think, I agree with what you're saying about leather jackets though, and I think another good thing about a leather jacket is, especially considering like that, I guess like bikery style jackets do tend to be a bit more padded, but then you can always just like, as long as you haven't got one that's like super like Italian fit, do you know what I mean, like super tight, which just is not my style anyway. Like you can always just wear like a hoodie underneath it as well or something, and I always feel that's like quite like a, do you know what I mean, that's just nice, almost like a zip up hoodie. Just have like a zip up hoodie, like you know, like under a leather jacket. I like that look. You know, like
Style 101.
Yeah, man. That's like, I don't know about that. It's definitely not a fashionista. But like at the end of the day, I think I like it. Do you know what I mean? I like it. Just like, you know, some jeans, boots, t-shirt, unzipped hoodie, and then leather jacket. To me, I'm like, oh yeah, that's how I wanna be rolling, baby.
This is how I roll, baby.
Yeah, man. Yeah, let's bring out some facts for the people. Ooh. Some fairly quick fire facts, I guess. Going to move on to some Christmas ones in a minute, but just going to share some more regular ones for the time being. Have you ever heard of a man called Michael Phillips, Drew?
Michael Phillips, I feel like I have, but no.
He is a man. Like it's quite a generic name, isn't it? He's a man that spent years battling shame and silence because he thinks he has the world's smallest micro penis, which is quite sad, isn't it?
He has this.
Yeah, he believes he has the world's smallest penis. He said he's speaking out about it now to help others who feel embarrassed about the size of their manhood and to better educate people on this rare condition of micropenosity. In a brutally honest chat, he laid bare a struggle that began in childhood when he believed he was simply smaller than average and was waiting for a growth spurt that never arrived.
Oh, man.
Even now, he's admitted the reality.
I don't know how that feels. I don't think it's quite micro.
No.
But it's definitely a grower, not a shower.
It's not a micro, but it's a grower, not a shower. Even now, he's admitted the reality of his condition still hasn't fully sunk in. He said, and I quote, "I'm still not sure that I have yet fully come to terms with having a micro penis." It wasn't until joking about being a Guinness World Record holder that I realised I might actually have the world's smallest penis. If I could go for it, I would. I think it could help bring more awareness to micro-penis lifestyles. He told IGV.
Micro-penis lifestyle.
So he's going to try... Man, I know. So I think he's trying to officially go down in Guinness World Records book now as like having the smallest penis in the world. He's taken aim at society's obsession with size, saying men are bombarded with unrealistic standards and almost no representation of those who don't fit them. Yeah, but he would say that, wouldn't he? Because he's got a micro-penis. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? It's always
he has to say that.
It's always people with like that sort of like thing that are like, yeah, society's obsessed with size. You know, it's like, mate, you have to say that. You don't have a choice. Do you know what I mean? Most people are just like normal, or maybe if you're lucky, above average. I'm not even just talking about penises. I'm talking about stuff in general. It could be like, I don't know, could be like boobs on a lady, or you know, whatever. You know.
Calf muscles.
It could be calf muscles on a man. You know, you always every now and again you'll see that like 50-year-old builder dad, and he just always wears shorts, and even in the coldest winter, and he's just got like rugby balls on the back of his legs. Oh, was it?
I was like, I just saw this guy, and it was like freezing, and we were going over to Ireland and stuff, and he was just there with his kids and his wife, and he was just there in some shorts with some fat off calves like this, and I was like, he definitely does some riding or something.
Yeah. Man, you just sit and you just think, fair shout, mate. Those are some freaking
I was
rocks.
like, I'd probably be wearing shorts in this.
Those are some freaking rock solid calves you got there, bro. They're so meaty. Let's face it, he's not feeling the cold. He's not feeling the cold on them. Yeah. Yeah. He also said, Michael Phillips also said, there really isn't very much representation for small sizes in media, and almost zero mention of micropenises being portrayed as being a real medical condition and not as some sort of slang joke term, he said. I mean, of course people are going to laugh at micropenises. Do you know what I mean? It's like, they're just going to, aren't they?
They're micro.
it's how can you expect people not to find micropenises funny?
Yeah, anything that's kind of abnormal than normal can be funny because it's different, and there's not, it's just like I say, it is what it is with stuff like that. It's just like,
I think that people with micropenises sorry man, I can see why it would be hard for people, but I think that we'd probably all be happier if we laughed together with stuff like that. What I mean is, I think that, like, if rather than the micropenis people getting upset and being like, don't laugh and make jokes about it, if they just laughed with us, then maybe they'd realise that actually it wasn't so much of a big deal. Do you know what I mean?
It's just the way you look at it.
It's just, do you know what I mean? It's like, in the grand scheme of things, man, does it matter, Does it matter that you've got like a little, just a little freaking cocktail sausage? Like, not, it doesn't really matter, mate.
What happens when they get a boner? Does it just like still micro, but just like points out?
I guess so, man. Yeah.
Like a little like.
When does a micropenis become a female steroid abuser's, lady parts? Yeah, clitoris. Yeah, you said it. You said it first, so now it's okay for me to say it. Yeah, I'm like, what time is it? It's like, it's a bit past. It's like, it's almost 9:30.
Have you ever seen an internal diagram of like a mini bum up close?
I mean, yeah, I definitely have a couple times.
What I mean is like like when you look at the muscle ligature or whatever.
Muscle ligature, like you're trying to sound like super sophisticated. When you look at the female muscular ligature of the
mate, no joke, like looking at it and like it is like a little cock and balls.
Right,
like the clitoris like goes back and then it goes into the ovaries, which are like the balls, like
right,
the two eggs.
That makes sense.
It goes back like that and like kind of joins them, and then when they're stimulated, the clitoris gets hard and it's like it's a little bone, like a clit boner.
It's just that we've got an outie and they've got an innie.
Yeah, but when you see it on the kind of in the scientific diagrams now, it looks like a little penis. So it's like they've got
making me feel gay, man. Gonna tickle those little female balls.
Well, that'd be quite hard, I reckon.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. That'd be like invasive surgery, mate. That would, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let's shout out to Michael Phillips anyway with his micro penis. He may.
Imogen's not in today.
Yeah. She'd freaking she'd think it was hilarious.
This is an easier conversation to have with a bro.
Yeah, God knows what her views on what has just transpired would be. Yeah, God knows what her views on clip boners would be. Oh my God, that is hilarious. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. Right, let's bring out some more facts to you. Did you know that there was a female probation officer? Sorry. At a high security prison, has recently got in trouble for getting it on with a prisoner. Yeah, mate, I tell you what, she's a good looking woman. She's a good looking lady as well. I bet that prisoner was like freaking hallelujah. There's this crazy chick who's supposed to be like, making sure I'm being a good boy, and instead she's just like, hey,
have you been a bad boy?
Yeah. And you're like, yes, I have actually. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there was one recently as well that I saw with like an older lady. She was like in her 50s.
Yeah.
But did we discuss it on the pod? I don't know if we did, but like she like got friendly with one of the inmates, and he proper like wooed her and everything, and she'd been working at the prison for like 40 odd years or something, so it was like just a complete been there dedicated to a job for all that time. And they just hatched this plan, and he basically she escaped with this guy, and they went on this massive like run basically, and just went across loads of different states and everything, and she basically helped him escape. And then I can't remember what happened in the end. I think I don't know if one of them died or something.
Was this in the United States? Sorry.
I think it was in the United States. Yeah. Either United States or Australia, I want to say.
Right.
But it was but like they went on this big run, and it was all proper planned, and they've been planning it for months and everything. And basically the way she got him out was just saying that she's going to this doctor's visit or something, and no one questioned it, and she just drove out of the prison with him, and then they were just off.
That's crazy, isn't it? That's crazy, isn't it? Yeah, this one as I said, this man, in a way, I mean, I feel conflicted because on the one hand, I don't know what this guy did, the one that back
was
to
in
my
prison
story.
for.
Yeah, so obviously if he did something really bad, definitely doesn't deserve any nookie. But at the same time, I feel like when you hear a story like this, you can't help but put yourself in that position, and then you think that'd be pretty good.
It's just human nature, man.
Yeah, so this lady was called Bethany. Well, it's called Bethany Dent Reynolds, 27-year-old, a 27-year-old probation officer at Belmarsh Prison, one of the most high security prisons in the UK, and she engaged in a relationship with serving prisoner Kieran Robinson. Puts a whole new meaning to the term being banged up, eh? But I always think it's crazy when you hear a story like that because it almost sounds like so scandalous. You usually expect it only to be like things in like movies or TV programs or something. Do you know what I mean? But then, or like a blue movie. Do you know what I mean? Like a blue movie scenario. Have you been a bad boy? And then when you actually hear it in real life, you're like, whoa, these things actually do happen sometimes. So yeah, pretty interesting.
You can imagine it,
You hear it sometimes, don't you, about like genuinely good looking like female teachers in their like 20s and 30s, getting with like 16-year-old lads at school and that, and then having
I heard about one of those recently as well. Yeah,
having like affairs with them and like having sex with them for like months until they get found out and stuff. But I always think with stuff like that, and I do admit this is completely hypocritical. I guess it's hypocritical, or like it's just having a double standard. Like if it was a guy and a girl, I'd be like, that paedophile was sick. Like
mortified.
He's like a freaking paedophile. Like he needs to be locked up, like cut his balls off and that. But when it's like a female teacher with like a 16, 17-year-old lad, because obviously in America, especially if it's an American story, which I feel like they often are, you see they don't leave high school until they're 18, do they? So it's like if it's like a 17-year-old lad, like 17-18-year-old lad, I just think, bro, high five. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, what you mean? Like you were just going like your history class, and then afterwards she was like, "Stay behind, Stephen. I need to talk to you about your grades." And then you were just like getting jiggy with some hot teacher in the frickin' in a like stockroom cupboard.
It's different. And there's no doubt that it's different. Like with a male and a female in that.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it just is, isn't it?
I think it's because even say like a 17-year-old man, a 17-year-old young man, 17-year-old lad, however you want to describe it, the monopoly of physical power is on him. Do you know what I mean? He has the monopoly on the physical power. Do you know what I mean? If push came to shove, he would be able to physically overpower the woman. 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, they get off.
Yeah. 9 times out of 10, the man has a monopoly on physical power. And that's just the way it is. Obviously, there are some genetic outliers. Every now and again, you might meet a just some giantess of a woman who might be super strong, or you might have like some super little scrawny guy, and then the woman might be like some like expert martial artist. Brienne of Tarth, or just some expert martial artist. But like, I mean, I'm really into MMA, and I even know from that, say like Amanda Nunes, who a lot of people think is like the best female fighter of all time, who was like the UFC bantamweight champion, who was like 135 pounds. That's the weight class. When she was training, she'd usually get mixed up with, say, she often would spar with men, but even like the men that were her size. So I'm not talking about like men that were like heavyweights, light heavyweights. Even like bantamweight men, who for men are like tiny. I mean, how often do you come across a man that's 135 pounds? That's like so tiny. Even like the men of her weight category had to go light on her. Like they would get told by the heads of the gym, like, look, you're going to be sparring Amanda Nunes today. okay, she's a champ. She is like one of our best champions, one of our best martial artists. Like you're gonna, like spar with her. You're gonna learn a lot from her, but don't go fully hard because we're just men and women are just built, a bit differently, So and she would like openly admit that as well. It's a bit like when Serena Williams said, I can't remember, like somebody was trying to incite some sort of division in tennis because I think it was. Oh, what was his name? Something Monroe. Anyway, there was this old American tennis player guy, and I think he basically said that Serena Williams, because people were trying to say that Serena Williams was the best tennis player of all time, and she might be like pound for pound. Do you know what I mean? She might be like, if you want to say it in terms of pound for pound, but he was like, no, and then he got like a lot of stick for it. And then when they asked her her opinion on it, she was like, no, he's right. And she was like, I had like a friendly match against like the 170th best male player in the world or something, and he still beat her. Do you know what I mean? Even though she's like easily the best number one, the best female tennis player. What I'm getting obviously is
extra strength.
It's those.
It's going to play into the fact.
Yeah, it's all those physiological and anatomical differences and stuff like that. So getting back to our original point though, I think it's it's because one of the things is that like you think of like a young girl, you think she's very like almost like vulnerable, and then you think of like a 30-year-old man, like do you know what I mean? Like they are kind of at the mercy of the man, whereas like some 17-year-old jock who might be like playing, I don't know, like American football or in this country rugby or something like that. Some like 6-foot lad, who's like really like if some like 5'4" like female teacher, is like a bit kinky, but she's trying it on with you. You're like, you're not there because you're being overpowered or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
and also it's kind of like you've got to be feeling it as a male for it to work. So like if it's working, then you're feeling it. You know what I mean? Like,
That's exactly.
The occasion.
Exactly. Yeah, good point, man. That's another good point, dude, for sure. Right. Those are crazy stories, though, aren't they? Whenever you hear anything like that, absolute, pure madness, my friend.
Didn't that happen when I was in school?
I know. Which what teachers do you think was the most attractive when we were in school? This is your chance, man. They might DM you.
Mr. Dickinson.
With her beady little eyes. With her beady little eyes and her frumpish frame. Oh, I feel a bit bad.
Unfortunately, I don't think there was any when we were in school.
Not really. Not any like stunners, were there?
Had as teachers anyway.
No. I remember you quite fancy. Was it Miss Metcalf, the one that was also from? Was she from Hartlepool or from Newcastle upon Tyne?
Oh, that rings a bell. I can't even remember what she looked like though.
She had like bleached blonde hair. And I remember, I think she left when we were like in year 8. That's probably why you can't remember her that well. But she had like bleached blonde hair, and she was from Newcastle or either that or Hartlepool. And I remember you asking her how she kept her accent or something, and because you lost yours pretty quick. But you were asking, but she'd been like living here obviously way longer than you had at the time. But she still had a thick Scouser, not Scouser, sorry, Geordie accent. Yeah, Geordie accent. Yeah.
Still gutted about that.
I'm just trying to think. I mean, Miss Hill was okay, but
I never had her for anything. Was she a history teacher?
Yeah. She was. Yeah, she was really sound, man. She was really sound. Yeah. Did you ever hear about that guy that just that British ex-paratrooper called Carl Bushby, who just decided to walk home from Chile, like literally Chile in South America, and it's just been taking him like decades to do it, and he's been like so determined to do it that he literally started doing this in 1998, and I still don't think that. I think that I'm not entirely sure, but I think that he's not home yet.
What? He surely could have got home in that time.
Well, yeah, but only if he'd taken shortcuts, which he like refused to do. So I think he's.
What do you mean by shortcuts? Like, because you obviously have to get on a plane or ship or.
Yeah, so I'll tell you his story, and then it will make it more sort of apparent to you. So I think he's planning to get back to Hull, which is his hometown, in September of 2026. I think that's his plan right now. But that's mad, considering he left when we were 8. So yeah, on the 1st of November 1998, a 29-year-old British ex-paratrooper named Carl Bushby stood at the southern tip of Chile with $500 in his pocket and an idea that sounded insane. He would walk home to Hull, England. Not fly, not drive, not sail, walk. Every single step, no shortcuts, no exceptions. The distance, 58,000 kilometres across 4 different continents. His estimate, about 8 to 12 years. His reality, he's still walking and he's almost home. Bushby set himself 2 iron rules. Rule number 1, no motorised transport can advance the route forward. If he needs to fly somewhere for visa reasons, he must return to the exact spot where he left and continue from there. Rule 2, he cannot go home until he can walk there. These simple rules would turn a decade-long plan into a 27-year odyssey. The early years pushed through South America. Then came the Darien Gap, that lawless stretch of jungle between Colombia and Panama controlled by drug traffickers and armed groups. Bushby spent 2 months hacking through the forest, facing terrain that fights every step. He emerged alive, still walking, through Central America, Mexico, the entirety of the United States. By 2005, he'd reached Alaska. Even that's mad, man. Imagine walking from Chile to Alaska. Like that's when you look on a map how much bigger the United States is than say England. Like even just imagine say walking from Cornwall to Scotland, like, and then like, oh my god. By 2005 he reached Alaska. Ahead lay something that seemed impossible, the Bering Strait. In March 2006, Bushby and French adventurer Dimitri Kiefer attempted what no one had done as part of the continuous around-the-world walk. For 14 days, they navigated 240 kilometres of broken, shifting Arctic ice. They jumped between ice floes. They carried rifles to protect them from polar bears. They wore immersion suits in case they fell through the ice into the freezing water. They eventually made it to Russia, where border guards immediately arrested them. Diplomatic intervention from the British Deputy Prime Minister and the Governor of Chukotka eventually saved the expedition, but the visa problems were just beginning. Russian tourist visas allowed only 90 days in the country per 180-day period. Bushby needed years to cross Siberia, however. The territory only passable on foot during late winter when rivers and swamps are frozen. He could walk a few months per year, then had to leave. In 2008, sponsors vanished in the financial crisis. He retreated to Mexico for 2 years, unable to continue. In 2013, Russia banned him for 5 years. So in Bushby's response, he walked 4,800 kilometres from Los Angeles to Washington, D.C. to the Russian embassy to personally protest this decision. The ban was then overturned. He pushed through Mongolia, crossed the Gobi Desert on foot, reached Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan. Then he couldn't get a visa for Iran. Then COVID shut down the world. Trapped on the eastern shore of the Caspian Sea with no land route forward, Bushby made an extraordinary decision. He would swim across the Caspian Sea, 288 kilometres of open water. Bushby admits, I'm definitely not a swimmer, nor do I like swimming. He trained for swimming for an entire year before he took this on, and he recruited fellow walker Angela Maxwell. He secured support from the Azerbaijani government, including 2 national team swimmers and Coast Guard vessels. In August of 2024, they began their swim. For 31 days, they swam in shifts, 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the afternoon, sleeping on support boats at night. Rough seas, high winds, and mental exhaustion all battered him. On the 17th of September 2024, they reached Azerbaijan. From there, Bushby walked through the country of Georgia into Turkey, covering 2,204 kilometres over 5 months. On the 2nd of May 2025, he crossed the Bosphorus Bridge in Istanbul, stepping from Asia into Europe for the first time since 1998. Isn't that even mad in itself? He hadn't been in Europe since 1998. He'd been out of Europe for 27 years at that point, and he'd walked through 4 different continents. Tens of thousands of kilometres had been walked. As of November 2025, Bushby is walking through Hungary, with roughly 1,500 kilometres remaining on his quest until he gets home to Hull. That one final obstacle looms, the English Channel. To maintain his unbroken footsteps, he needs to cross without motorised transport. Swimming is possible, but is very dangerous. His hope is walking through the Channel Tunnel's service corridor, a maintenance tunnel not legally open to pedestrians. After 27 years and 47,000 kilometres, he hopes authorities might grant special permission for this final 21-mile stretch before he can continue his walk through England. The numbers are staggering. He's been walking for 27 years. He's walked more than 47,000 kilometres. He's walked through 25 different countries. He's walked across 4 different continents. In the last 27 years, he spent roughly 13 years of that walking non-stop. 14 years has been consumed by visas, financial crises, pandemics, and bureaucracy. When asked what drives him to do this, he simply said, "It's a challenge-based endeavour." Bushby says simply, "It's not for charity, it's not for fame. He does it because it's hard and because he decided to do it, because no one else has done it before him, because the challenge existed." But his greatest discovery wasn't about distance or endurance. He said, 99.99% of people I've met have been the very best in humanity, he says. The world is a much kinder place than it often seems. Somewhere in Europe right now, a 56-year-old British man is walking west, same as he's been doing since 1998. Behind him, an unbroken trail of footprints stretching back 47,000 kilometres to Chile. Ahead, the 1,500-kilometre walk home. No planes, no cars, no shortcuts. If he arrives in Hull by September of 2026, Carl Bushby will have spent nearly 3 decades proving something profound. Sometimes the slowest way is the only way that matters. He's almost done. He's almost home after 27 years of refusing to quit. Pretty cool, huh?
Wow. I love it when things give me a shiver, and that gave me a shiver.
Yeah. Man, I tell you what, that must have been like a hell of an experience as well.
Yeah, just to see that much of humanity as well.
Yeah.
In that way, in such a almost a vulnerable way of just walking. Like,
for sure, man.
You can't do it in any other way. It's like, mate, that's so frigging cool. Only a paratrooper would be able to do that, wouldn't they?
Oh yeah, man. That's definitely like the military mindset, isn't it? When you especially when you think of people like Jocko or like Pat McNamara, who we had on the pod, and that's like such the sort of thing that people like that would just do. Like, why do I do it? Because it's hard. Yeah.
But yeah, man, that sounds so insane. Like, that's going to make an amazing book or an amazing,
like
just
a documentary.
Like the experiences that he must have had in all of those different places. Like that'd be. I'm like really intrigued. So I want to know some of the stories now. Like
it'd be cool almost if like they made like a documentary and like each documentary was like a different country he walked through or something.
Yeah.
Although saying that he's walked through so many countries, that would have to be a very, very big documentary series. Do you know what I mean? But,
yeah, we'll have to send this to Bullwinkle and say,
"Yeah,
there
man.
you go, as a challenge."
yeah. You've got to walk home, Bullwinkle. You've got to walk home from Australia, mate. That'd be impossible, though, wouldn't it? Imagine because you'd have to swim somehow.
Yeah,
and that's the thing about him being in Chile.
So
obviously,
I still don't get that. So the way he's done it, the route he's done it, it's just been possible to just either walk or swim.
Yeah, because obviously in your head, I think you think, oh well, obviously the quickest way to get home to England from Chile is to go across the Atlantic, but obviously nobody could survive that without motorization. So instead, obviously, he had to walk all the way up to the Bering Strait on the northern part of like Alaska, where it's almost like where you can like hop across the ice essentially from Alaska to Russia, and then you'd have to walk then west from Russia.
From Russia.
But that's mad, isn't it? That's mad.
That is absolutely mental.
Especially that bit where it said like there was one part where you can only walk it in winter because if it's like not winter, there's so many like swamps and stuff that you just can't walk it. So he had to wait until it was winter.
Kept going back. So he'd do a bit, and then he'd remember where he was.
So I think in those moments, he almost like would get a motorized transport, but then he'd have to go.
He'd have to go back to the position he was at.
So that was almost just like a little break, and then he'd have to fly back.
Because it shows you it's impossible, really, isn't it? Unless you do something like that, and all those years, like what was it? You said 13 years of continuous walking, but the rest is like bureaucracy and pandemics.
Yeah,
and
during COVID, he basically wasn't allowed to do it, and there was like Russia like arrested him a couple of times because they were like, "What are you doing?" Yeah, they probably thought like, "Oh, ex-British paratrooper." They probably thought he might have been a spy or something. Do you know what I mean? Like just trying to gain some sort of intel on, I don't know, like how many Russian planes are in the sky or something. I don't know.
I love it how like if you can do certain things in this life and in the world that like wouldn't necessarily be giving you like a normal job, like monetary value of like you go there and you get this. Like he had $500 in his pocket to start, but he's managed to survive all of that time, and he's managed to get sponsorship, and he's managed to like have a lifestyle with that as well. Like all he's been doing is like walking, but he's managed to, it shows that you can do something different and still survive, or like you haven't got to be locked into just this like work and I find those stories really interesting. It's just something that's so different. Like I think how did he have any money to eat? How did he have any money to like get a place to sleep?
Mate,
and stuff? stuff. And he's like,
that's such a good point.
He
Yeah,
just found a way.
yeah. I mean, I know that they said that. I know that he said that at one point. It said that sponsorship dried up, so I guess he was sponsored for parts of it. But even so, it's like, how would you even access that sponsorship money? If you know what I mean? Like, if you're just like on the go all the time and you're like crossing the freaking Gobi Desert, there's not like a fucking kiosk that you can just quickly like, I'm just going to put this like 80p in so I can get myself a Mars bar. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, man, he must have met people on the way that were helping him and that, and like, I'm going to be at this place at this time. Like, can you have supplies, or I don't know. It's just, that's what I mean. It must be a mental story from his perspective. I'd love to hear more on it. He'll definitely make a book or something when he's back in Hull.
Hopefully, there'll be a documentary about him. I reckon that'd be a real interesting documentary. Even just like I find it really interesting. Hopefully there's been some pictures taken of him along the way, so they can like sprinkle in the pictures amongst the documentary. But I'd even find it really interesting just talking about like, the difference. Like, imagine the difference between, say, walking through Chile and then walking through Texas and then walking through right through to like, say, walking through Alaska. Like, Alaska in itself, like, Alaska is for me almost like one of the most beautiful and fascinating places on the planet, just because obviously Alaska is like so much bigger than the entirety of England, but it's almost just like, apart from these little settlements like Anchorage and bloody blah,
wilderness.
Yeah, it's just unbridled wilderness, almost like untampered with, all these beautiful forests and mountains and lakes, and it's just full of brown bears and wolves and moose, and and it's just this like fascinating place, like eagles, and it's just like one of the best places in the world for fishing, and you can see killer whales and all these other, and like humpback whales and all these other like amazing things.
And in the winter, it's really harsh as well, isn't it? Like, and it proper dries up. Did you ever see that Into the Wild film? I really liked it. I watched it a couple of times. It's about like that really sad story of that guy who like his aim was to get to Alaska, and he basically traveled all across America and stuff, and like finally got to Alaska and like got out in the wilderness, and he learned how to like hunt and stuff, and butcher elk and stuff to have meat and all that stuff. But he basically like got to this like in the depths of Alaska, and was stuck beyond this river for like, and it got into winter time, and the food just dried out completely. He had a rifle and stuff, but the food just completely dried out, and he was eating like berries and eating like certain plants and stuff, and like he'd got the wrong plant in his book, and he was eating all this plant, and he starved to death because the plant makes you not be able to hold down food, so he was like eating it along with other stuff, and if he wasn't eating this plant, he probably could have survived on the other stuff he was eating, but because he was eating, it looked like sweet pea or something, but it was like a really dangerous thing. Sorry about the dog barking.
That's all right.
And it's savage. It like constrict it basically makes you puke up loads, and like and he just slowly just shriveled and died in this abandoned bus that was out in the middle of like Alaska.
Yeah, I remember hearing that's how he died. Like, that's how they found him. And it's a shame, isn't it? Because he just
you can still go visit it.
Yeah, it's mad that he like, if he just had almost like managed to self-diagnose that it was that plant that was causing the issue, he'd have probably been okay, but I guess he just didn't.
And he did when it was too late. He see this moment, he like looks in his book and he's like, oh no, I've been eating the wrong one. It looks exactly the same, but it's like, and then it was like, yeah, because he had this little handbook, and in this little handbook he had, like, it's one of the only like and he had he was like writing little things on the pages and stuff, and like, and the last thing he wrote in there was, happiness is only experienced when shared.
Right,
and like it was just like, it's
a bit ominous, really, because he was on his own.
Yeah.
So I guess he actually felt really bad.
There, like dying and realizing that he just really wanted to be
with people,
sharing his experiences with other people rather than just on his own having this thing, and just like,
that's really sad, dude. That's really sad, man. Yeah, it was like, I've never actually watched the thing, but I know about the story. I remember hearing about the story about him, how he just like, wasn't he like from like New York or something, or like California, just got fed up with like the normal sort of like corporate 9-to-5 lifestyle or whatever, so he just like he just finished university and got this like degree, and like all these like, it was like it was high on a degree or whatever, like did really good grades and all this stuff, and he was supposed to be going into the corporate thing, and instead of doing that, he just like left and dumped his car so no one could find him, and then just went on this adventure basically all across America, and changed his name and stuff when he was meeting people so his parents can find him and that. I definitely think that you like, if you're going to do something like that, I think you really need to get like clued up and like spend a long time like learning bushcraft and foraging and hunting and think of it, fishing.
Because like that guy being an ex-paratrooper, like even that first part of his trip, we were saying about hacking his way through that part of the jungle
in South America,
just, like, run by drug lords and stuff. Like, you know, if you're a normal civilian, you're not going to get too far.
Not just the drug lords, but then think about how many venomous spiders and snakes there must have been and stuff.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Jungle,
like scorpions and all sorts. And not even just that. I bet there's like horrible parasites there, and do you know what I mean? Things that you can give you awful. That must be
so cool. It's like that's a specialist skill to have. Like when you've really got skills in like the bushcraft thing, or like what a para would have to be able to kind of survive out in like in battle and stuff. Like you can challenge yourself because nature is so like unforgiving. Like you can just go to these remote locations and be like, I'm gonna test myself now.
I remember Pat McNamara was talking about when he was like doing his training for like special forces. One of the things they did was they would like drop you off in the forest in like the middle of America, and they basically say like you have to survive for like a certain amount of days. Like we're not going to give you anything. Like you're not allowed any provisions. They just drop you off. And then they're going to like pick you up in a certain amount of days, and they're going to see how well you've looked after yourself. And I remember him saying he like found like an old piece of like fishing wire or something like that, like down by a lake or a river. So obviously he didn't have a rod, but from that he managed to like make a little hook out of something, and then like managed to get something to like catch a fish. And then he's just like, oh, then do you know what I mean? It's like a mixture of just like initiative and like opportunity and almost like foraging and being as resourceful as possible. And I remember he said that he actually got in trouble from his superior officers because technically you're not allowed to have any intoxicants while you're doing this, but he found a half drunk can of beer like somewhere in like the forest or like by the river or like by some lake or river that had probably been left by some guy that was fishing and like sinking a couple of tinnies. And he thought, well, you know, obviously, it's an intoxicant, but it has calories, it's got energy, it's got hydration. Do you know what I mean? Like, one of the reasons people used to have alcohol back in the day, wasn't it? Like ale rather than water, was because it's clean. So he thought, well, you know, it's clean. So, yeah, he drank it. I think he, like, kept the can on him or something because he, like, used, like, the metal from the can to, like, you know, as like, a tool and stuff like that because obviously it's sharp and stuff if you, like, tear it up. And anyway, he just told them about it, and then they like put him in like the brig or something like that. They put him in the brig for like a day or whatever, and they were like, "Yeah, you," and he was like, "What?" I was like using my initiative to like stay alive and stuff, blah blah. I thought that you guys would be impressed, and they were like, "No," and they were like quite brutal with him. They were like, "No intoxicants, like while you're on duty or whatever like that." So, but I remember him saying like to this day he feels like he had a raw hand from that. Like if it was like him now, and he was doing the teaching, he wouldn't have like punished somebody for doing that. He would have been like, that's badass, fair play. You know, like you got to like take every single calorie matters when you're in like a survival situation like that. Do you know what I mean? And if you can find like a half, you know, like a half a thing, like a tin, like half a tin of ale or whatever, half tin of beer. That's like what, like 200, probably just over 250.
You get buzz as well, bonus.
Yeah.
Side bonus.
And that's like probably what, like half a pint of liquid. It's quite a lot. You know, it's quite a lot. While you're there, like waiting for your fish, you know, your makeshift like fishing line to catch something.
I'm set, man. I got my beer, I got fishing line. Hell yeah!
Yeah, man. Yeah. But my point being, like, you know, it just goes to show, so, you know, people that are, you know, in the military, especially once you're, you know, say something like a paratrooper, it is like a more highly trained position. Like, I'm sure he did have several skills, like, you know, akin to like what Pat McNamara described, that would have helped him in those situations. Just, as I said, the ability to just like, you know, be resilient, be resourceful, you know, use your initiative, like use everything. And also just that mental and physical preparation. Do you know what I mean? You're already pushed to the limit so that, like, you know, you're not going to be mentally overwhelmed when you do have those hard days when you're like really, really hungry and, you know, the weather's like knocking you, whether it's because it's cold or whether it's hot or whatever the rest of it. Because, yeah, he must have had days where, like, he was, like, unbearably hot in certain countries, and he must have also had days, like, in Alaska where he was, like, and in Russia where he was, like, freezing cold.
Yeah, man, the differences in climates around those different places was just, it must have been mental.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons they're talking about that sort of stuff. That's one of the reasons I love that, although he has finished it now, sadly. It's one of the reasons I love that Outdoor Boys YouTube channel, because he's just like, he's just this guy from Alaska. But because he grew up in Alaska, like native Alaskans are like built different. Do you know what I mean? Like they all have
to be.
Yeah, it's like they all like know how to. They all know how to like get a car started if like all the freaking liquid in the car is like frozen, and do you know what I mean? And you know, things that wouldn't be an issue in this country. Like even though Britain is a cold country, it's like cold on a different level in Alaska. Like it gets down. I can't remember, but in some of his videos where he's like, some of his videos are so cool, and he's like doing like, I'm gonna survive outdoors in Alaska tonight but I have no tent and like nothing. You know, I'm just gonna like improvise everything. And it's like he shows like his thermometer, and he usually uses Fahrenheit, obviously, because he's an American. But I think in like centigrade, some nights when he's doing it, it's like -25. And I'm like, mate, I've never even experienced for a minute what that feels like. You know, you know when it's like some days on like a really cold England day, and it might be like -4 or something. And you think, oh, it's freaking bitter, man. You know,
you still be in your shorts, man.
Yeah. But it's cool, mate. Some of these videos, he makes like himself like an ice cave, dude. It's amazing.
I always find that mad, like how, because ice only needs to freeze at 0. Like, you know, if -20, you can have an ice cave and actually be warmer inside than outside. Like that always blows my mind a bit, you know. Or that you can have like you can have fire in them and stuff, and it doesn't melt the ice. It's mad, isn't
mate.
it?
It's so cool in some of these videos. So what he'll do is he'll find he'll basically have like a shovel with him. And then he'll like start just digging down, but it's interesting. He says like you have to get the texture like perfect. He says if the snow is too like soft and fine, like if almost like you pick it up and it falls through your fingers, you can't do it there. That's too dangerous because that sort of snow, like if you make it, it will collapse on you. It's even worse. Right. You'll literally get like you'll be making yourself like a frosty tomb.
Cool.
But like obviously, and then if it's too hard, you can't dig into it. But it has to be that perfect consistency where it's almost like concrete before it sets. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like it's almost like it's still malleable.
Real icy.
Yeah, it's still malleable. Like you can still move it and stuff, but it's like almost like wet, like really wet sand or something. You know, like you can almost like mold it and then anyway, and he like digs down, and then he'll like dig down, and then almost like and then in, and then make himself like a little alcove. And then it's just like, do you know what I mean? And because it's like down and then in as well, like obviously any wind, like freezing wind, it's just passing over. It's not coming in or anything like that. And then, and then he'll usually like make a little fire on the outside and stuff, so that the heat's almost like going in rather than. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't actually make it in the thing because I guess that'd be dangerous because he could like burn himself over.
Okay.
But he makes it at, like almost at the entrance, and then the heat's almost like going in, like heat. It's like, and then he's got like a nice little place to make himself like a hot chocolate and like cook a steak and stuff like at the entrance and that. And then he's just, oh mate, it's like I find it so interesting to watch anyway.
Oh, I've never seen that. I'm gonna have to watch it.
You should watch it, mate. It's super wholesome as well, and because he's like a family man, and because often he takes his like he's got 3 sons, so often he takes them on the adventures, and it's really nice as well because you can see it's like, and because he does try and keep it like a family friendly thing. Do you know what I mean? It's not like full of expletives and that, which is quite good because you can just watch it with your missus and your kids. Do you know what I mean? Like I watch it with Evie all the time, and it's great, and it's like. You know, he'll just be like walking around Alaska. Sometimes they're like hunting ptarmigan, which are like these birds that like taste a bit like duck. And then some episodes, he's like, today I'll be hunting ptarmigan, going fishing for salmon, and making myself like camping using just stuff from the forest. And then he'll just like cut down a load of like rotten trees and stuff, and then he'll just make himself like a badass. It will like almost like makeshift wooden cabin in the middle of nowhere in Alaska for like him and his kids to sleep in overnight. But like, you know, he's always got like a shotgun there just in case a freaking like bear comes along or something. Do you know what I mean?
Oh man, it's so cool, isn't it?
Mate, I find it so cool. It almost just makes me think like, I really want to move to Alaska and just like look.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just like there's like I think like
have some of those experiences.
Yeah, I just like almost like the slow pace of life as well. Do you know what I mean? In the videos, even though he's like very physically active, but like the thing is, I never mind stuff like that. I find stuff like that relaxing. Do you know what I mean? Because he's like cutting down a lot of trees, and I know to like a lot of people that have desk jobs and stuff, they're like, screw that, I'd hate to do that. You know what I mean? Like, they just like, hate doing anything physical. But like I'm the opposite. Like even though in his videos he's like constantly chopping down trees and chopping logs for the fire, because you just pretty much have to have a fire going all the time if you're like, you know what I mean, sleeping out in the night in Alaska and that. But he's like, it's always like at the same time it's quite like a slow pace of life. It's like once he's got a big enough log pile and stuff, he's just like chucking out his fishing rod, chilling out, like having a bit of a laugh with his kids. Do you know what I mean? Like eating little like snacks that they've brought with them and stuff, and like I just think it's such like an almost like nice.
Sounds like good living, man.
Yeah, and it's like quite like romantic in a way. Do you know what I Do you know what I mean? Not like obviously romantic in like a in like a male female partner way, but it's just like, do you know what I mean? Just that idea of that is your lifestyle to me is quite romantic, you know?
Yeah, and even going to a city recently, like it just made me realise how much of a not of city guy I am.
What,
like
Dublin?
going to Dublin and like, you know, and just being in like a smaller town that's really within nature. It's like it's you know, it's just so different, and then that's different on another level, like, you know, like Alaska and being in the wilderness of that. I definitely romanticize over that, because it is like the air feels cleaner and all of that stuff. Even like for me, in the difference between a city and here, air feels like super cleaner. It's really nice to have that bit of a slower pace of life, it feels like, and all that stuff. And there's something that just feels unnatural about them to me, like, and they're not, because when you look at them from above, it's almost like an ant nest or something. When you see a city and it's always moving, there's something definitely natural about it as well, like the way that like it forms and you see movement within a city and stuff. But when you're actually just on the ground level with it, and you walk past like parts and it just stinks of pee and that, where all like people are just peeing and stuff, and just the concrete, like you can only see some plant like in certain things that are planted, but to have that much concrete in one place, like, it just seems very unnatural to me. It's like where everywhere you look is just concrete. It's just, the buildings are beautiful and some of the architecture is really nice and there's some nice statues and that, but just the smell of it and that, it's just a bit like, it's just a bit like dirty, you know? And I just feel like with a lot of places like that, you know?
I definitely feel like you can tell the air quality if you're used to being from a more rural area. Obviously, like we both live in a more rural area, and I think like whenever I go to London or something, I'm just like, I can almost like smell the exhaust fumes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, you know, like if you spend like 24 hours there and then you like blow your nose and there's like black gunk on the tissue and you're like, what the hell? Like, what the hell is this? You
is
know,
that natural?
This don't happen in Somerset.
You ain't getting that in a forest.
No, you're getting that in a forest, young'un.
Up on the top of the Quantock Hills.
No, man, it's just, it's weird, and I find like almost like something about, as you said, the lack of like greenery. It's almost like a bit depressing, isn't it? Like like where everything is just grey. You're like, oh, this isn't what my eyes are supposed to be seeing. But then you go and
get something. You get like a drink or something, and it's just like so much more expensive than anything that you have around your area as well. And I'm like, what? So it's worse, but it's more expensive.
It's almost like it's weird, isn't it? It's like two different breeds of people, because some people love city life and they love living in the city, and they're almost like, I couldn't not live in the city. And I'm like, hey, it's weird, obviously, because then you've got people like me and you that are like, we couldn't live in a city. And it's almost like it's like two different types of people at this point. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're almost like evolving slightly differently. It's just like, you got the urbanites.
They're the ones that are going to be happy to be cyborgs.
yeah, most likely. Like,
do you know what I mean? Just merge with technology and stuff. Just totally like, nature. What is that? Like, you know, this is cool.
You hear about, don't you? You hear about like school kids from London and that like, when they see
never seen the sea,
or like they've never seen like a cow, so that when they like finally see a cow, they're like, what the hell? And it's like, it's a cow, mate. You know what I mean? You've never seen a cow before, like, but it's like I remember Arch saying that like he'd never seen a cow until he like moved to Somerset, like, because Aylesbury's like quite close to London, isn't it? And it's like quite a big area. And he just until he like lived in Somerset, he just never seen a cow just like in a field. And he was a bit like, first time he was like, what the hell? Yeah, that's weird.
I just think, like, you know, like big like blocks of flats, and you know, I think of like, it's like Slough and stuff, and it's just like
Slough.
I just can't imagine that life. Like, it must be so horrible for people.
I think it's miserable. Yeah,
and living there, like, it must just be like, it's like a not very nice existence, really. And I think that in a lot of places, like I go in the city and I just see all these like houses and that, especially because where we were staying was a little bit outside of Dublin, so you go through all these estates and stuff, and I'm thinking, man, I would hate to live here, like, you know, just industrial and like, and I just think, what must your life be like, just in the rat race, going to your job, coming back to this like disgusting looking place. Like, I know you shouldn't judge, but do you know what I mean?
No offense, Irish.
No, well, yeah.
Well, no, I'm joking because obviously it's nothing against Irish, obviously, because Ireland's got lots of beautiful nature as well. I'm sure there are if loads of Irish people would fully agree, because it's not about obviously it's not about Dublin itself. It's about that city lifestyle, whether it's London, Manchester, Dublin, whatever. There are some cities that are nice, but I think they're few and far between. Like I think York is a lovely city. I think Bath is quite nice. Edinburgh's nice. Do you know what I mean? But really,
they're all quite quirky, though, aren't they? They got something that makes
got
them
a lot of
quirky
personality.
and like the cobbles or like the stonework in Bath and everything. Like it looks really interesting and a bit higgledy-piggledy in that. Like, and yeah, York, I can imagine it looks quite Tudory and stuff. Does it, or is it like
York? I don't know about Tudory, but it's definitely got like a very ancient vibe. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like the York city is almost like built within the like an old castle wall as well, which I think is really fascinating. But obviously, like sort of like like almost like predating like the Tudor period. But obviously, York's got that whole history with being like the Viking capital, the capital of the Viking north of England, as Jorvik, and then before that, it was a like Roman settlement called Eboracum. So it's got like really fascinating history from like the Vikings and the Romans, and it's just as you can feel there's like a lot of ancient history there, which I feel like gives it a lot of substance. But I feel like one thing that Edinburgh and Bath and York all share, even though they're completely different and all have a completely different vibe when you're there, they all have a lot of character, as you said. But there's not really like many like there's not really like those like sort of skyscrapers. You know when you go to like London and there's like skyscrapers everywhere, and it seems like super modern. They also it doesn't seem to have like cars everywhere. You know, you think of like London and you just think there's just like these massive roads and it's just almost like chock-a-block with like cars at all hours of the day and stuff. It's not really like that. I feel like the population, considering the size of the places, are all like pretty low, and they're still like I feel like they blend nature with the buildings quite well, like in all of those places. Do you know what I mean? Like in Bath, there's this nice river running through them. I mean, I know there's lots of cities that have rivers going through them and stuff, but I don't know. It's just like there's this nice, beautiful river going through Bath, and because of the buildings, there's a lot of old like Roman buildings. They're all like quite quirky and nice to look at, and they don't seem like they're not all like grey and boring. It's all like that. Can't remember the name of the stone, but it's almost like that sandy-coloured stone. Do you know what I mean? It looks a bit more interesting and nice, and yeah, you got like the old rec rugby ground, and you know what I mean. There's lots of like still like naturey places in and around Bath and stuff, and I feel like York's the same, and Edinburgh's the same. You know, even like
I need to go York.
Yeah, York's amazing, man. I might even try and get up like some point over the Christmas and New Year break.
Yeah, I've been Edinburgh and Bath. I've never been to York.
I can't believe you've never been to York.
Yeah, I think I probably have, but it was when I was really young, like pre-11. You know, when we lived up there. I can't really remember it. You know,
mate, it's great, lovely place. I really would recommend if you do go there, go to the York Museum. It's amazing because they almost like it's almost like a fairground ride. The way they do it, I've never ever been to a museum like it. It's not like you just go in and you just walk about this museum. You go in, you sit in this almost like it looks literally like a seat in like a fairground ride, and then they take you through the history of York. And there's two speakers like each side. So you don't wear like headphones, but like the seat, it's like a comfy seat, and there's like speakers here, like either side of your ears, and then it plays you the history of York as you're going through time. So it's like you find out about it really interesting in this like linear fashion, but they've done it great. Not only are there like fantastic models and stuff, they incorporate like smell and everything. So I don't know how they get how they produce the smells, but there's this one bit I remember when they're going on about how like the fish trade. Yeah. There's this one bit where they're going on about how like the fish trade in York was like massive, and you go through it and it's like it just almost like reeks of fish. Yeah, mate, it like reeks of fish, but it's quite cool, you know.
Yeah, can you take wee ones on there?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So man, I think that it would be great for him. Be really interesting for you and Meg. And then lovely restaurants. There's I'll try and find out the name for it. Like if you
Isn't are thinking, where you had the Yorkshire wrap, the Yorkshire pudding wrap.
Yes, mate. Those are big. I've always
wanted to try. I've still never tried.
That's one. Big in Yorkshire, mate. That's big in York. Yeah, so I definitely highly recommend that. Obviously, as well in York, they've got York Minster Cathedral, which is the largest cathedral in the UK, the second largest cathedral in the whole of Europe. There's only one cathedral bigger in Germany, and it's massive, dude. It's insane. It's like twice as tall as Wells Cathedral, or at least it seems it, and probably like 4 times the square footage. Do you know what I mean?
Wells Cathedral is impressive, you know.
Well, all cathedrals are, aren't
I've ever seen, I think.
Yeah, all cathedrals are, man. They're massive, obviously, and very, very beautiful. But yeah, man, York Minster Cathedral is a sight to behold. I remember when I first saw it, I was almost a bit like you know when you're almost like dumbfounded. I was like, mate, how the frickin' hell did they build this with like donkeys and chisels? Do you know what I mean? And like just like hammers and like chisels and donkeys and men.
Have you heard of that book? I know Josh has got real into it. He told me about it once about it's like I think it's fictional, but it's based on cathedral builders.
No, I don't know about that. No.
Mate, there's this series apparently, and they're like quite thick, like tomes, like tomes, but it's this. I want to say Ken Follett for some reason. I don't know if that is or not, but it's this series of books about like a cathedral builder or cathedral builder, and apparently like it's amazing. Like I can't want to read it, but you know, like a real cool like fantasy book almost or something, but just like all about like back in that time.
Sounds quite intriguing in a way. What like a niche concept about a cathedral builder?
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever heard Josh talk about that.
Yeah, and I remember like Josh, unless I'm just completely like thinking of something else now, but like I think Josh got really into those books.
Right, okay.
And he was telling me about it and saying he was obsessed with them and stuff. But
well, Josh, if you're listening to this, reach out to us and tell us about if you did read those books, and yeah, give us a little bit of clarity on actually what they were about and stuff, because that does sound really intriguing. But yeah, man, York's a lovely place to say.
The Pillars of Earth. That's what
the Pillars of Earth.
Yeah,
Ken
Follett. Yeah, so it is.
Not Ken Barlow.
I remember Ken Follett. I don't know how the hell I remember that name, because I don't generally remember stuff.
Mate, that was good, Drew. You pulled that out of the deep out of the well, man.
I couldn't remember the name of the book, but I remember.
Yeah. Ken Barlow, by the way, I think he's just like an old character in Coronation Street, isn't he?
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Ken Barlow. But yeah, man, I really recommend York. There's lovely restaurants. Let me know if you do decide to go there, because there's an amazing Italian restaurant that I can picture it in my head perfectly, like how it looks outside and how it looks inside. But I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. But I'll find out what it's called, so that you can go there, because it was amazing, dude. And the people were really nice. I remember just like, you know, they talk about like northern hospitality and how people up north are like friendlier. I remember, you know, when you go to pay at the end of the night, mate, you freaking wouldn't get this in London. I remember this like real nice waitress was just like, oh, are you leaving by taxi? You know, like, yeah. And they were like, do you want me to call you one? And I was just like, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, but like, I almost like was a bit dumbfounded. Like, I don't think I've ever been in a restaurant where they were like, because I think she was chatting a little bit, and I said like, yeah, we're like, you know, we're from Somerset, we're up here and that, like we're staying at a hotel. And she was like, oh, you're getting a taxi back to your hotel? I was like, yeah. And she was like, do you want me to call you a taxi there? And I was just like yeah. So obviously, and then she was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll just tell you when it's here. So we just sat and chilled for like 5 minutes. And then she was like, oh, your taxi's here. And then obviously all we had to do was just like get in the taxi and then pay him when we arrived. You know, I was like, mate, that service is insane. And then, the food was like amazing, and oh, mate, it was great. I love York. I freaking love York. I loved it as well. Like one point, I remember we got like a taxi from a hotel we were staying like into the centre, because it was like about sort of like a 5-minute drive out of the centre. And yeah, I was just like having full on just nattering away with this like taxi driver, just talking about everything. But just like, yeah, real nice, friendly people, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, all just like what you see is what you get. And yeah, the Yorkie pud wraps. I just remember just loving it. Like going into the shop and they'd be like, what you want, darling? And you know, and it's proper just like they got like pork, lamb, beef, like everything that you want. And then you just construct like exactly the same way you would with like a kebab in a kebab shop. It's just like, you know, whether you want the red cabbage or the carrots or the peas or the broccoli, and then, you know, do you want do you want horseradish or English mustard or mint sauce or just gravy, and or what different combinations, do you know what I mean? And dude, and then I remember when I got mine, I just like, because the one we went to was like quite near York Minster Cathedral, so we just like got the wrap, and then
the gravy was good that went on it as well.
Top gravy. Top gravy, mate. They know how to do gravy up north. And then I just remember just went and sat and just ate my wrap, like sat on the grass under a tree at like right next to York Minster Cathedral. And I just, you know, when you're just almost like in that moment, just like, well, this is bloody good. This is bloody good. Nothing could really be much better right now, to be honest. I'm eating this banging Yorkie frickin' pud wrap all full of roast potatoes and like meat and gravy and everything. Just sat next to this amazing cathedral.
So bad.
And everyone that you see is just like seems to be a real sound and friendly and just like, hey, up, right? You right, mate? You know what I mean? It's like, well, actually, they didn't really say mate, do they? I'm like, all right, pal. All right, pal.
Yeah, pal. Yeah, cool. The friendliness of up north.
Yeah, I do genuinely think that up north is better than the south.
Oh yeah, it's cheaper, cleaner air.
Yeah.
Well, other than some places.
I know. I know. Don't get me wrong. I've been to some lovely places in the southeast. Like I do think Kent is quite nice. You know, like some of the little places we went to in Kent and stuff. Like for work a couple of years ago. Yeah, I thought there were some nice places. Like and I think is it Folkestone? I thought it was really nice. But I never really feel at home in the southeast. I mean, I guess quite literally, I'm not from the southeast, but I mean, technically, I was born in the West Country. Do you know what I mean? I was born in the southwest, but I think so. I do like the southwest, but I think because like so many of my family, like going back generations, are from up north, I almost feel this pull up north. This inner pull, you know. I feel like there's something in me that's almost like.
I lived so much of it there before I was 11.
Yeah.
And like I loved it, and I had a northern accent and everything. And my granddad's from Scotland.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've moved down south, lost my accent, and it's like I remember. I know I always say it, but just 2000, new millennium, and like just being like the parties there. It was literally like all the houses on the street in this thing. All the doors were open and people were just like going in each other's houses and that, and it was like that is such a random like thing that I couldn't imagine happening. Well, it was just the experience and how different it was from you know, a lot of people keep themselves to themselves, it seems like
more guarded, more close.
Yeah, and it was like this whole community thing there, and everyone was having a laugh and stuff, and it was like, oh, yeah, I miss that, you know, or I miss the idea of that, and also just the nature, and you see, and even Scotland and that, I see all these pictures and everything, I'm like, man, that looks incredible, like, you know.
Oh, I definitely love going to Edinburgh. Like, yeah, I think, you know, when I went to Edinburgh about, to be fair, I haven't been there in about 7 years, but seems like it wasn't that long ago, but I loved Edinburgh. Like Edinburgh is like a really interesting place. I mean, I think that York's my favourite city in the UK, but Edinburgh is like, I think it's like York. It's like York, and then Edinburgh and Bath. I think those are like my sort of joint second. You know, very obviously, Bath and Edinburgh are very different from each other, but both fascinating history. Like Edinburgh Castle, I love the way that when you're sort of like in Edinburgh City, you can just see Edinburgh Castle on the, and it's just almost like on this massive rock. You know what I mean? It's almost like on this big hill, and you can just like see it, and it looks really visually stunning and very impressive. And I just really like everything about Edinburgh. I thought it was really cool. Really nice little like, you know, quirky little like coffee and tea shops that you can go into. Do you know what I mean? And I remember like it's funny, isn't it? Because I think, you know, the Scots get a lot of flack for being grumpy, and I definitely think there is an element of truth to that. Like even like Craig, who obviously works with us, he's almost like a bit of a typical grumpy Scotsman, and it's got nothing to do with how like nice he is or anything like that, or how helpful he is, but it's just almost like their general demeanour. Sometimes it's like just not maybe as chipper, but at the same time, there are some absolutely lovely Scottish people. I remember going into this little coffee shop, little tea shop. And I just remember speaking to this just like lovely Scottish woman and that, and she was like really interested in like where I was from and that, and I was like, oh, probably the most famous place that I live near, that you'd know. I was like, is like Glastonbury and that, and then I remember she was just proper like, oh, you come from a lovely place and you come from a beautiful place in Britain as well then, and I remember just thinking like, I don't know, the way that she said like you come from a beautiful place in Britain as well then, I felt like she was creating this tie with us. Do you know what I mean? She wasn't acting like I was an outsider. Like I was this outsider Englishman in her country. It was like we're the same, but like I just live in this beautiful place and you live in that beautiful place, but they're both the same because they're both just like real nice places in Britain. And I felt, do you know what I mean? I almost like I appreciated that sort of that little touch, you know. I mean, probably helped that I was buying goods off her. But I still thought it was like really nice of her to be like that.
It's not just going in the shop and getting something next, please.
Yeah, well, you know, like sometimes you go in like a place, especially if it's like a chain, but sometimes even if it's not a chain, and it's just like some really grumpy like 20-year-old girl that serves you, and it's like, Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're like, yeah, can I get like a coffee, please? And then maybe like, I don't know, like a full English, please. And they're just proper, just like, all right, you or whatever. Like, yeah. And what do you want? And then it's like, yeah, I'll get this. And then like poached eggs, whatever. And like, okay.
It's like, you know they really don't want to be there, like serving all these people, and just like they definitely don't want to make small talk.
Yeah, and it's almost like you end up being more polite to them than they're being to you, but then they're the ones that are almost like being paid to work in hospitality. And then you're like,
yeah,
what? I'm just doing it for free, bruh. I'm just being stand to you for free, and you're supposed to be getting paid to frickin', you know. And it's almost like the vibes I'm getting from you is like you just want to like throw my coffee in my face.
Yeah.
Sure, I mean, definitely does make a big difference just when someone's a bit like smiley and, you know, like.
Oh, 100%, man. Yeah, because like I say, it costs nothing, but it just creates a whole different experience, you know.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, if you really can't do that, then get a job in a morgue or something, you know. Just getting a job in a morgue. Don't have to be around anybody that's alive. Doesn't matter. Yeah. The dead won't care. Yeah. You know. The dead
be as grumpy as you like.
Be as grumpy as you want. Yeah.
Well, they'll probably be really happy in that situation.
Mr. Brittlebones won't mind. Yeah. Yeah, maybe they would. Right, let's move on to some Christmas facts anyway. Time for some Christmas facts. Oh, well, just really quickly before that, quite sad news. A ridiculously old tortoise called Grandma has just passed away. Sad news. She was born in 1884.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? Grandma the tortoise lives an extraordinary life. 3 different centuries. Don't you think that's mad? 19th century, 20th century, and the 21st century. Yeah, crazy. What can I tell you about Grandma? Not a lot. Old tortoise. There you go.
There was one that you mentioned the other day, and it was the size of a car. And
a leatherback turtle.
Yeah, that was Nathaniel, wasn't it? When he was saying about they would swim down and go and see this like huge leatherback.
And he was saying about how massive the leatherback turtle was, and I was like, yeah, it's like
size of a car.
Yeah, it's like pretty much like the size of like my freaking SUV, which is kind of crazy, isn't it? Absolutely crazy. You ready to learn some Christmas facts, Drew?
Hell yeah.
Do you know like when people shorten Christmas to Xmas? Do you know why that is? That's quite interesting.
No idea. Never thought about it, but it's always been an X. Yeah, what the hell?
It's really weird, isn't it? Yeah, it's because X comes from the Greek letter chi or chai, like CHI, which is the first letter of Christ in Greek. So it's like the X just takes the place of cry. But I think even that's really interesting, like, because nobody thinks about, why do you sometimes just shorten Christmas, like CHR, blah, blah, to X. But yeah, it's all to do with the Greek language, yeah. Yeah. Xmas using the Greek letter for Christ, which is, CHI, comes from, is why we do that, which is quite interesting. Did you know that the 25th of December isn't actually historically Jesus' birthday as well? It was basically moved, Christmas as like the Christmas tradition, or Christmas holiday, was moved to December because that's when pagans celebrated both Saturnalia in sort of more like Roman paganism and Yule in sort of like Norse paganism. So they thought that like there's no way that the pagans that they were trying to convert to Christianity would worship it if they almost like made them move it around too much. So they were like, we'll just say this when Jesus was born. Which I think is quite interesting. Off the top of my head, I don't actually have this information here now available to me, but I think, if my memory serves, that like they think that Jesus was actually born. Because obviously it's hard to say for certain, because there's some even debate of whether actually Jesus was a real historical figure or not. Most people, I think most historians agree that he most likely was. But I think that they think that he was probably born at some point in October. Which is quite different, isn't it? I mean, obviously, the holiday of October is Halloween, but I think, and as well, I think, so Saturnalia, I think, is the one that was the holiday that Christmas as we know it, at least in terms of the date, is most based on now. Saturnalia, Yule by the Anglo-Saxons and the Vikings, as we know them. I think that Yule was more like something that was celebrated all the way through like November and December and even into January, Do you know what I mean? So it was like celebrated almost like it was like months long holiday rather than like culminating in just this like one massive day. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I think Christmas nowadays for us.
Like especially in the UK, in that when we celebrate something, it's usually just like one day. But like even in other cultures, like I remember in Spain, or like when they celebrate Christmas, it's more like up until like the 7th of January or something. And like and it seems like there's a lot of places where they it's over a period of time rather than just a day. And I'm like, that sounds way better. Yeah. Like to just like actually have a period where you could just be like going to like festivals every day, or like, you know, because in Peru when I was there, it was like there was some things like that, and it was like over days, you know. And I'm like, oh, they're just partying again, like, you know.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Cool.
One thing I thought was really interesting as well, you know, like it's quite traditional in like the West to like say like burn like a Yule log. Did you know that originally in like the northwestern Europeans, you know, mostly like Anglo-Saxons and Vikings, like pre-Christian, they it wasn't just a Yule log that they would burn. They would set fire to a whole either oak or ash tree, and then it would be like this massive festival, almost like celebration, where they would like imagine that, setting fire to like a whole ash tree or a whole oak tree and just like watching that. That must have been like such like a spectacle. Man. Do you know what I mean? Imagine that being there like over 1,000 years ago. Like the spectacle of that, it's like nighttime, and there's this whole entire. It must be the heat
partying around the burning tree.
The height, the heat and the light that must have been emanating from that must have been intense. Yeah,
must have been flowing.
It makes me think of that. You know, there's there's that episode of Vikings. I think it's in season 1, like late in season 1, and they go to I think it's Uppsala. They go to Uppsala, which is in modern day Sweden, and
they just take loads of mushrooms and gangbang.
Oh my god, yeah, it's great, isn't it? What an episode! But it's like really, at first, Ethelton's almost like tripping out because he's tripping out for several reasons before he actually literally trips out, because part of the thing is like human sacrifice, isn't it? And do you remember their friend Leif is like he like is willing to be sacrificed. So then he's like, Ethelton's just like, what the hell? Because like Ragnar and Lagertha and that are like just pretty chill about the fact that like Leif's like throat is just slit, and then all this blood's going down this like almost like guttering into like a bucket and stuff like that, and he's like, what the hell? And then he's like not even over that yet, and then someone's just like, people are like, yeah, take these mushrooms and drink it down with this mead, and then he's just like, what the hell? And yeah, he ends up like sleeping with that chick, doesn't he, and stuff. And everyone's
sounds like a good night, man.
And yeah, everyone's just gangbanging, and he just ends up sleeping with that chick, and he's just like, what the hell is going on? Yeah, I mean, I can imagine it'd been probably something similar to that. What a party, man! What a party! Yeah, what a time! I could definitely like tell that like you know, from a northwestern European guy. Do you know what I mean? That's all in my blood. It's all in my blood.
I almost feel like we were born in the wrong time sometimes.
Oh yeah, man. I definitely think that. But it's like I'm conflicted at the same time though, because I think there's part of me that thinks, yeah, that would have been great, and then there's another part of me that thinks, you know, when you hear that like how like rampant just like pubic lice was, and like
and like worms. Like,
I remember
ages ago, I remember being like at your house or something, or we were doing something on, and one of the facts was about like the amount of worms that people just had in their intestines, in their guts and stuff. And it was just like everyone in Britain would have just been like riddled in these like worms and that. And I was like, oh man, that's savage.
And like,
imagine that.
And like how many people would have just had like chlamydia and stuff, and a lot of them wouldn't have even known it. And just like, but they would have just had like really rashy bits and stuff, and like sore bits. It's like, it makes you actually think, actually, if I did go in a time machine back there, I probably wouldn't actually want to sleep with anyone, because I'd probably end up with something really savage, you know?
Yeah.
You know? And then, I don't know. So and also, it's like, if you got an infection, obviously, well, there's no antibiotics, mate. So you just have to like
go to the local witch.
Yeah, go to the local witch and just hope that your fever breaks. If not, it's time to die.
Yeah, it is that romanticized like thought of it, isn't it?
In your head, your initial reaction is, you watch Vikings and you just think, Lagertha.
I want a bit of that.
Yeah. I want to drink mead and go to that cool festival. What you don't think about is the genital lice. man. That's another other interesting little fact. Did you know that tinsel was originally made from real silver in the 1600s? So yeah, long before it was just like plasticky and crap, it was made from real silver. But then to cut costs in the centuries following, they started making it out of lead instead. And then for a while, tinsel was banned after that, though, because people were getting lead poisoning from tinsel. So then it was banned, and then when it came back, it was brought back in its current form of plastic. But I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah, and I wonder what tinsel is, where that came from. It used to be silver.
Good point.
What does it represent?
I don't actually. Yeah, I do know. That's really interesting as well. I don't actually know that. I just know that it was originally sort of a thing in the 1600s. Maybe it was maybe it's literally just a matter of they just something to decorate the tree with. Because I know other things that do have origins, like wreaths, for example. The circular wreaths, the wreaths that are obviously common in Christmas time. I know that like a lot of people do always make wreaths. Em always makes a wreath. I wouldn't be surprised. Is your mum a wreath maker? I wouldn't be surprised. I can imagine your mum always making a wreath.
I think she's done one, yeah.
Yeah. But and this is quite cool actually. There's got a bit of a crossover between like the Yule traditions and the more recent Christian traditions. In paganism, the circular shape of the wreath symbolizes eternity. And in modern Christianity, the wreath symbolizes the crown of thorns that Jesus wore on the crucifix, which is quite interesting, isn't it? It's quite interesting. I thought as well, like robins are associated with Christmas. Like you often see like robins on Christmas cards and stuff. Apparently, that came. I didn't know this. The symbolism of robins being associated with Christmas is because in the Victorian era, British postmen wore red and were nicknamed robins, and obviously it was the postman that delivered the Christmas cards and often presents as well from different people. So that's where it comes from. It's not actually it wasn't originally the birds themselves, although it is now. It was originally Victorian postmen that wore red, and just their nicknames was robins. And nowadays it's like this thing like all over the West. You just you have like a nice little Christmas card, and it'll be like a snowy scene with a robin on it, or.
That's cool. Imagine a little robin with like a little postman hat on or something.
Yeah. And similar, like candy canes. There's like candy canes that almost looks like a little walking stick, but it's like a. Yeah. That's really associated with Christmas as well, isn't it? You like think of like any like Christmas movie or go in a Christmas shop, there'll just be like loads of red candy canes. That was originally invented in Germany as a way simply just to keep children quiet in church on Christmas Day, because you get that amount of children together. In a place like a church as well, obviously, where the sound carries. Yeah, and it would just interrupt the Christmas proceedings, and all the parents would end up spending more time telling their children to be quiet than actually like singing the hymns and listening to the vicar or whatever. So they were like, "What can we do about this?" And then somebody was like, "I know what shuts children up: sweets." So they would hand out candy canes to all the kids in the church, and so that the parents could sing the hymns and listen to the vicar while their kids were just next to them, like. Just like licking the candy canes.
And then you wait until the candy canes kick in with all that sugar after the service.
That's what. Hopefully, that's as you're on your way out, and then you can just let them. You can just let them sprint home. Yeah. Yeah, and Christmas crackers that you pull, they were inspired by crackling. The crackle of a burning log. So the reason why you like pull them and they bang is that's supposed to symbolise like when you've got a nice log on a fireplace like crackling and everything like that, which I thought was quite cool. Wow. And they were popularised, they were sort of brought to the masses by a man called Tom Smith. So he was the guy that actually sort of like made the first Christmas crackers that you think of today, and actually started like selling them and stuff like that. And now they're like a massive in like every Western country, aren't they? Pretty much like every Christmas, it's really traditional to have like Christmas crackers. I was thinking this one's quite interesting. About how like mince pies, they used to just like contain meat.
Mincemeat, and even now it's called mincemeat, but it's not meat.
Well, yeah, but it's so weird, isn't it? Because they don't actually have meat in nowadays. Like a mince pie doesn't have mince. Yeah,
like mincemeat isn't actually meat; it's just all fruit bits and stuff.
Well, it's like weird, because obviously you do actually have actual mincemeat that you'd like make, minced beef or whatever. But yeah, the mincemeat in a mince pie isn't actually mince, even though, as you said, they call it mincemeat. But it's just like what was it, like raisins and sultanas and stuff like that. I'd say not really a big fan of a mince pie.
I wasn't but I've had a few mince pies now that are just exceptional.
Yeah,
Like here,
oh,
like,
baby, the way that you said it, they're exceptional. That's an
seriously,
exceptional
like
mince pie.
there's this little like village close to us, and they just sell these mince pies, and they've got like the mincemeat around the outside of like the innards of the pie, and it's like butter pastry or butter pastry, I guess, but the middle part is like an Italian like sponge filling thing in it, so it's like a mince pie but with like this Italian inner, and it's so good.
Oh man, that sounds amazing.
Mm.
Yeah, maybe if I tried that I'd like it. I don't know. It's one of those things usually if somebody's like, do you want a mince pie, I'm like, nah, I'm alright. And just like almost like, because obviously I've tried them several times in my life, but just never really just like floated my boat for whatever reason. I didn't know this. Apparently, turkey is almost considered like the traditional Christmas meat nowadays. Well, I've known for a long time that in the UK originally it was actually a goose, wasn't it? Because for a start, turkeys aren't native to, they're not native to the UK. The turkeys are from North America. So, obviously nobody had a turkey before, European settlers settled in North America, because we wouldn't have even known what a turkey was. So I know that people used to have goose, and I think, to be fair, I think goose is a much better bird as well. I think it's way tastier.
Me too.
I'm cooking up a big old goose this year. But yeah, what I didn't know is that apparently for some people it was traditional to have a peacock as a Christmas Day bird.
What?
Yeah.
That's mental. I didn't even know that people eat peacocks.
Yeah, I didn't either. I mean, I guess it's like, I guess like in theory, of course you could. But yeah, before turkeys were brought into this country over 500 years ago, people used to eat geese. Geese was one of the most popular ones. Another popular one was a boar's head. So people would just cook up a boar's head and then just chuck that on the table and just help yourself. And peacocks. Yeah, peacocks were also a common one during the festive season. Henry VIII was the first king. Was the first English king, I should say, to enjoy a turkey on Christmas Day. That's an interesting fact, isn't it?
Yeah, he saw it as a big chicken. He loved his chickens, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so
He'd have like 5 chickens a day, like
something
whole
like,
chickens.
Something like that, wasn't it?
I remember like reading that, and I was like, damn, he loved his chicken.
My old man reminds me of King Henry VIII so much. Do you know what I mean? Like they're so similar, But Henry VIII was the first English king to enjoy a turkey on Christmas Day, and the bird was still regarded as a luxury right up until the 1950s. Many people had a goose instead. Back in those days, before the 1950s, if you had a turkey, you essentially would have been seen as like an absolute baller. It was like a status symbol. It would have been a bit like driving a Lambo today or something. Do you know what I mean? It was like if you had a turkey.
Which is weird because they're not that tasty, are they?
No.
They're like the most boring meat.
I know.
Like, there's no taste to it, and it's just like dry, like,
It's really hard to make a turkey taste good, and I think anything that you have to put that much effort into to make it taste good, it's like, do you know what I mean? It's like, probably just. I think it's funny, isn't it? It just goes to show in a way how like shallow people are, because, yeah, you could get a goose for like much cheaper in the UK traditionally. But people would, if they could afford it, they would pick a turkey over the goose for the status thing. But like to me, I'm like, I would way rather have a goose than a turkey.
Give me the goose. Yeah.
It's funny because I almost feel like it's started to go the other way now. I feel like most people will have a turkey, but I feel like if you have a goose, you're almost seen as like, oh, that's a bit different. That's a bit interesting. And then people are like, some people are like, I've had goose before. Does it taste a bit like duck? And I'm like, yeah, kind of a bit like duck, but like more gamey maybe. Like, it's a bit more gamey and like similar to duck, but.
Yeah, oh man.
Almost like a cross between like duck and red meat or something. It's really it's quite interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Have you seen in like places like Poland and the Czech Republic, they have carp for Christmas?
Oh yeah, I'm not on board with that, mate.
That's mad, isn't it? They'll just eat a massive carp.
Mate. Yeah, I mean the thing is as well, I mean I've never tried it, so I mean to be fair, I should probably try it before I judge it. But at the same time, I know for a fact that like freshwater fish taste muddy. Do you know what I mean? Like, I like fish, man. I'm a big fish eater, but there's a big difference between sea fish and freshwater fish. Sea fish, because of the salt, they have salt for a start. It cleans, doesn't it? Everybody knows that salt is really good at cleaning. So the salt water, like, it literally keeps the fish clean, and then it also imbues them with a nice salty taste. So you have this like nice, clean, salty flavour. Whereas freshwater fish, obviously there's no salt in freshwater fish, so you don't have it to keep them clean. And also, because of the water gets mixed in with mud, it's all like muddy, silty water.
They taste earthy, don't they?
It literally has like a muddy. I mean, I'm not down with that. I'm not down with that. I don't want a muddy fish. It's disgusting.
The only one that I would have, and I liked, like when I was younger, was rainbow trout.
Oh yeah, trout.
And I'd have like river rainbow trout.
Trout is the best of the freshwater fish, yeah, by far. Yeah. That's the only one that I would think of.
Tried much other freshwater fish.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I just don't really want to. Do you know what I mean? I'm always like, I'll eat like almost any sea fish. Like
something from a river over from a pond, and like you get, and a lot of carps are in ponds and lakes and stuff, aren't they? Where it's just like
stagnant water almost.
It's just stagnant, like just still water.
Yeah, like obviously like salmon, they spend some of the year in freshwater, like in like going
I can imagine with the rivers
and salmon are nice,
moving really fast.
But they spend some of the year into the salt as well, don't they? So it's like. They spend, you know what I mean? So I don't consider them like a freshwater fish. Well, they're not a freshwater fish, but they do spend some time in moving freshwater. But even the sort of water you imagine salmon in, it's always like beautiful, crystal clear rivers. When you see them like swimming upstream and stuff like that in places like Alaska, which you're talking about earlier. Whereas I think of like
water is moving, it's that for me seems more clean and more fresh than like than for I drink from like a flowing river of rocks, but not from a pond.
No. I literally
go and take some glugs from a pond,
Yeah, I just remember like being like a teenager, and if ever I'd like go with like a mate like carp fishing or something like that, it's just like the water was always it was like a big muddy pond. Murky. And you never it was like like just mud water. The pond looked like mud water. You couldn't even see a foot deep into it. It was just like mud. It's like. And
my dad was telling me there's one by Bridgewater as well.
Yeah.
And because it's so silty on the bottom because of like the silt mud and everything, you get these carps up and they're like literally like a different color, like black, like they're like where they're just mixed and they've just been rubbing all on the silt on the bottom and that. And it's like that'd be minging, wouldn't it?
I remember there was actually a lot of controversy in Bridgewater about 20 years ago because some of the carp from the carp ponds around Bridgewater started going missing, and I assume this was like based on some sort of evidence, but like I think it was like they were blaming it on like the Polish community. There was quite a lot of like Polish workers and people that had come to Bridgewater.
Was it around Christmas time?
Yeah, I think it was, and like, because the local fishermen were complaining like, look, we've been fishing these ponds for years, and all of a sudden like we're not catching anything, and then like the council stepped in or whatever, and they did like a big survey, and they realised that like the population of the carp in the pond had gone down like loads, and it must have been because people weren't doing catch and release, which you're supposed to do in these carp ponds. They were catching them, and then they were
catch and eat.
Yeah, they were taking them home and eating them. And I think it was like sort of the Polish population that was blamed for that, So bit mental, really, isn't it?
That makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, turkey was considered a luxury bird right up until the 1950s, with many having goose instead because it was cheaper. But thanks to the invention of the fridge and the ability of the large turkey to feed the whole family, it soon took top spot on many Christmas tables. There you go. Did you know that?
Never have been a fan of turkey. Never will.
No, I mean, I'll tell you what. One thing I think is quite nice. I think it's quite satisfying for several reasons. A, because of the size of it, and also because it is one of the fattiest parts of the bird. Have you ever just had like a turkey drumstick?
No.
Mate, if you're gonna have a turkey, then because you can buy a turkey drumstick in most supermarkets, and mate, it's like it's like that. It's almost like a club. Do you know what I mean? Like the look of it, it's like a club. It's like freaking.
And it's more fatty and stuff, innit? Or like it's juicy.
Yeah, like because like just like with a chicken, you know how like the thighs and the drumsticks are fattier than the breast.
Yeah, that's what I always have when I cook up a whole roast chicken. Like Meg and Mum are usually over, and I'll give them both the big breast each, and I'll just have both of the turkey, the drumsticks and the legs, and the thighs of each one, and then where it's all slow cooked, it just literally falls off them, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's me done. That's all I need for this. I don't need any breast.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. For a very rare instant of you not needing any breast in your life. But, yeah, I do actually recommend cooking up a turkey drumstick. I'm not really a fan of turkey in general, but I think there's something also really satisfying about, as I said, eating it, because you can just cook it up, and then you can just wait for it to, wait 10 minutes, 15 minutes for it until it's like, just cool enough that you can hold it without it burning your hands, and then you can just be like, and And there's something super
big old leg.
Yeah, something quite satisfying about that. There must be freaking a lot of protein in a turkey drumstick as well. Like, I mean, I don't know how much just off the top of my head, but it's got to be like 60 grams of protein in a turkey leg. Quite a good way just to like nom down a load of good protein or something, you know. Did you know that Rudolph wasn't created until 1939?
No.
Yeah, so obviously he's like the most famous reindeer nowadays, but he wasn't even invented until like less than 100 years ago. Yeah. Were the
other reindeers about, or was it?
Yeah, they were knocking about. They were knocking about.
Okay.
Yeah, but the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was created in 1939 by Robert L. May, who was an advertising copywriter for Montgomery Ward's department store in Chicago, Illinois. Every year, the store would give away free colouring books as holiday gifts to children who visited the store. Rudolph's story sold 2.4 million copies in its first year of publication. The famous song was then released in 1949, becoming one of the best-selling Christmas songs of all time. Cut to modern day, and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is known the world over. So yeah, that's just like another thing. It just started off as like a marketing thing for this company in Chicago.
Cool.
Took the world by storm.
Funny how things can take off.
Yeah, I just think everybody knows that song, don't they? Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. But that was just like a song that was made based on that thing in 1949. And as I said, the original, 1939, the colouring book came out. 1949, the song was written. Cut to today, everybody knows about it. Everybody knows about it. Don't you think it's weird to think that there was a period of 13 years, I think, in the UK where Christmas was banned. So people just didn't celebrate Christmas. Yeah, it was when the Puritans took over. You know, like Oliver Cromwell and that. They briefly had control of England for a while. Yeah, it was back in the mid-17th century. The Puritans who came to power after the fall of Charles I regarded Christmas as too decadent, too hedonistic, and too Catholic. So they banned it, much to the annoyance of pretty much everybody in Britain at the time, many of whom rioted. As one pamphleteer put it, "Thus are the merry lords of misrule suppressed by the mad lords of bad rule at Westminster." The ban lasted until the restoration of the monarchy in 1660. Yeah, I think it was 13 years. So I think, 1647. So imagine that, 13 years. That's quite a long time. How old were we 13 years ago?
Like, had it in secret.
Oh, I'm sure they did. But I think we were 22. I think we were 22 13 years ago. Imagine having that. Between 13 years, from 22 right up until now, no Christmases. I have to say, that does seem almost like the ultimate killjoy. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, mate, is Christmas really that bad? It's like describing it as too hedonistic. Like, what the hell? I think of like hedonism, and I think of like freaking porn, and do you know what I mean? And like swingers, and like Mardi Gras, and all of that stuff.
Eating some turkey and having a bit of Baileys.
Yeah, with your nan. Like. It's hardly hedonistic, is it? It's just like
have time for family to rejoice,
spreading some cheer and just having a good time. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that one. Oliver Cromwell. You can see why the monarchy ended up being restored, really, can't you? Yeah, and then Boxing Day gets its names originally from servants. So obviously back in like Downton Abbey times and before that, obviously well-off people would have servants. And on Boxing Day, servants would get day off after having to frickin' mop up after their lords and ladies all day on Christmas Day and cooking them food and waiting on them hand, foot and leg. Hand, foot and... What's the saying?
Hand and foot.
Hand and foot. I was like, I turned that like into a crossbreed between hand and foot and hand, foot and mouth disease. Waiting on a man, foot and mouth disease, they were. But yeah, so on Boxing Day, the servants would get the day off, and that was the day that literally it was called Boxing Day because that was the day that they head off to open boxes of gifts. So that's why it's called Boxing Day. When I was little, I always used to like think that it had something to do with people boxing. Yeah,
me too. I'll be always like, when was the famous boxing match then?
Like, but you'd never actually hear about anybody boxing, or like you never hear suddenly people like, let's put on the boxing match. So I'd just be well, I'm sure it's happening somewhere, but my family just don't really know.
I remember having that thought when I was really little as well.
Isn't that really funny? Like, just like Boxing Day.
Why are we going to watch the boxing then?
Yeah. I think we talked about this on the pod before, but yeah, Saint Nicholas was originally is a historical figure that was buried in Turkey back in the day. I think he lived in around 200 AD, give or take. So yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? But it's mad because we've sort of like merged several things, because it's like, yeah, the actual Saint Nicholas, which is obviously one of the many names for Father Christmas, he was a historical figure buried in Turkey, but also the origins of Father Christmas as we see him, especially with like being pulled in a sleigh in the sky and everything, come from Odin, which is kind of mad, isn't it? Literally like the Norse god Odin.
And like the mushroom, isn't it something to do with? Oh no, actually, because I've read about like the mushroom and the red and the white of the Amanita muscara mushroom as well, have some relevance. But then it wasn't it only when Coca-Cola changed the thing to red that it became red, and it used to be green, like Santa's cloak.
Yeah, I think I've
green.
Yeah, I think I've heard that. Yeah, I think
when
I've heard
Coca-Cola did their big like market, like another marketing thing, they'd like turn Santa red, and then he became red then.
Yeah, I think I've heard that as well. Yeah, but I mean, I guess just because, I guess the question with that is, because red and green and white, I would say, are like the three colours of Christmas, aren't they? Also the three colours of Italy, but that's by the by. But yeah, but I think, like, I guess the question with that is did red become the primary colour of Christmas after those Coca-Cola adverts, or was it already the primary colour, but Father Christmas wasn't red?
Was green.
Yeah. In which case that could be with the with the mushroom, that could still be the case. But yeah, originally the origins of Father Christmas or Santa Claus was Odin, and obviously Odin used to around Yule, the wild hunts would go on, which is pretty cool. And Odin would lead the wild hunt, riding in his chariot in the sky, in his sleigh. But the only difference is that Odin had his chariot or his sleigh pulled by Sleipnir, which, if my memory serves, was an 8-legged horse. Whereas somehow over the years it got turned into reindeers, yeah. But I know in Sweden to this day, so in all of northwestern Europe, so the so all the Anglo-Saxons, pre-Christian Anglo-Saxons, and the Vikings as we know them, basically people that live in Scandinavia and other places in northwest Europe, they used to also, one of the things that they used to decorate with around Yule, around Christmas, was like goats, and they still do in Sweden. I don't know if they do in Norway still. I definitely know they do in Sweden. I think Sweden might almost be like the last Scandinavian country that do it. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, goats, that's a bit random, isn't it?" But it's because obviously it's so entwined. Like Yule is obviously like part of the Norse mythology, and Thor's chariot was pulled by goats. Well, by two goats. So the Yuletide goats of Sweden are supposed to symbolise Thor's goats, which I think is really cool, because I really like the idea of just mixing, Christmas with Norse mythology. Like celebrate Christmas. There's one of Thor's goats, mate. Get the goose in the oven. There's Thor's goat. I just think that's really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I really like it's such almost like it's cool to think that, like, because Christmas is such a big part of our tradition, but to think that, like, even before Christmas as we know it, all of our ancestors would have still celebrated essentially Christmas, but it was just called Yule for like hundreds if not thousands of years before that. So it is like such a big part of our tradition, like ingrained in our DNA, and I love that, and I love that so many of these traditions actually have their origin in Yule, rather than actually being something that came about after the more Christianized version. Whether it's the Yule log, whether it's the Christmas goats, whether it's like even like mistletoe. Mistletoe is like associated with like Druids and Vikings as well.
Yeah, it is such a mishmash, isn't it?
Yeah, but obviously nowadays it's like we've almost like been adopted, isn't it, more into like the Christian way with the mistletoe. But yeah, mistletoe is a pagan fertility symbol. And the name mistletoe comes from the mistle thrush bird. But yeah, it's like but even though it was a pagan fertility symbol and it was like really commonly associated with Yule, obviously nowadays it's almost like in even like Christian tradition of Christmas, it's like, oh yeah, if you kiss under a mistletoe, and it's almost like good luck or whatever. So that's cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I had a look why reindeers are associated with Christmas, and apparently it was primarily through 19th century American poetry, especially Clement Clark Moore's 1823 A Visit from St. Nicholas, and it was that's where he mentions Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner and Blitzen, not Rudolph. And, but I was trying to why was that even in his poem, and like apparently reindeer were already revered symbols in Northern Europe and Sami cultures linked to winter journeys and resourcefulness, fitting the snowy Christmas theme. But like, it's weird. It's not like from one thing, it seems. It seems like a bit of a mash of stuff that even made reindeers a prominent part of Christmas,
Man, it is such a mishmash, isn't it? Such a mishmash. Do you know the best-selling Christmas single of all time? Or actually, it might even be the best-selling single of all time. Is White Christmas, which I have to say I think is one of my favourite Christmas tracks. It's quite a classy one, isn't it? I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know. Yeah, what a beautiful track. What a beautiful track. But yeah, I know it's the best-selling Christmas single of all time, but it might even be the best-selling single of all time. I don't know, it might be worth looking into.
It's really funny. The other day, like I played guitar for like Deb Rose on a gig she did. Which was like pretty random and cool. I was only supposed to be playing that one song that we did before, and that I know of hers.
Did you end up just shredding over all of her songs?
She was basically just like, "Can you stay up for the whole set?" And I was like, "Well, I don't even know any of the chords to any of us, like any of the other songs." She did 2 40-minute sets, and I basically soloed over all of her stuff for like.
Mate, that's so good. That's so good.
And I was just adding little embellishments to the songs and stuff, so it worked out pretty well. But it was funny. But we did like a cover of Santa Baby, because she had to do a Christmas song. Santa Baby, the tree for me. So it was like,
mate, I can't imagine Deb singing that.
I know, it was random, man, but it was like really funny. I quickly got the chords up and like just like did all the chords for it and that, and she was like, "Santa honey."
Oh mate, I wish I'd seen that. That sounds great. I said I can't imagine her singing that, which makes me want to hear it even more. Do you know what I mean?
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, crazy, isn't it? Did you know that the 2 weeks before Christmas is one of the most popular times for couples to break up? That's an interesting statistic.
I do notice
isn't it?
As well at like Christmas time, like it's a
time of reflection
time for family, but it also seems to be like, like if you've got problems in your family and stuff, like, do you know what I mean? It's almost like for people that don't have as close a family in that, like, people, they hate Christmas. They're like, do you know what I mean? Like, I speak to some people and like they're just like really don't, or for our family, for instance, with breakups and that, and like it's just not the same anymore. Like, so like my dad will always like go away, or my nan used to like go away at Christmas because it wasn't the same. Do you know what I mean? And it was like all a bit weird, like with those kind of family, because it's supposed to be such a family time. If people aren't in that position, then it can be a bit like, can bring stuff up, I think, as well, of just like,
definitely.
Like, oh, it shines a light on our family aren't good, like, and stuff.
Yeah, it's a bit mad, isn't it?
Yeah,
a bit mad. I'll say one of my friends like broke up around last Christmas and New Year. So that's sort of proof.
Like, oh, I just don't want to get them any more presents. I don't even want to be with them.
It's mad, isn't it? Another interesting,
my hard-earned cash on.
Another interesting statistic is that people are way more likely to get injured at Christmas than pretty much any other time of year.
They're pissed.
Well, probably is partly that, but the main reason is attributed to just like all the decorations. People are up ladders. People are people are getting out like.
People go to town and some of their outside decorations as well. You see, and like loads of stuff all over the place.
Exactly,
like,
but
loads of extension leads plugged in all down the garden and that. Like mix that with a bit of water.
Yeah, I was going to say, but because of the time of year, it's likely to be raining, or maybe in some other countries like snowing, so it's like slippery, and Yeah, and as a result, people are like breaking bones. Even little things like, like you get your Christmas tree, you got to saw off the end of the Christmas tree, you might nab your hand, or you accidentally cut a finger or something with a saw, or many different reasons why. But yeah, one of the most injurific. There we go. I've just made up a new word. One of the most injurific times of the year. Well,
almost sounds like terrific. Like you've got a really good injury.
It's the opposite. It's the opposite of terrific. Injurific.
Yeah.
Sad because you're injured. Yeah. Scientists, for some reasons, mate. Sometimes I hear about some of the stuff that scientists do, and I think, man, I can't believe they do this sort of stuff for a living. But the smallest Christmas card in the world was made by a scientist. It's so small, it's invisible to the naked eye. But if you look at it under a microscope, you can actually see the detail of this tiny microscopic Christmas card that he's made. Mate, what a way to spend your time. Imagine that. What have we been doing for work this year? I made the world's smallest Christmas card. Yeah, very strange, isn't
man. It?
Yeah. Early carols early carols, Christian carols, were actually based a lot of times on wassailing tunes. So like the melodies were adopted and then turned into, the lyrics were made about Mary and Jesus and stuff, but they were actually based on pre-existing melodies that were used for wassailing, which is obviously more of like a traditional druidic sort of paganisy sort of dance around the maypole pole.
Something that's older, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like all this stuff. It almost had to be accepted by like culture at the time, I guess.
Yeah. Another interesting, just to sort of finish off our Christmas facts. Did you know that Norway has gifted a Christmas tree to the UK every single year since the end of the Second World War? And that's because of all the help the British gave the Norwegians during the Second World War. So Norway was taken over and occupied by the Nazis, but the British basically helped the Norwegians move their headquarters temporarily to London. So essentially it was almost like the head of Norway for a while was in London, and then they worked with the Norwegian government to help sabotage all the Nazis in Norway and help the Norwegians as soon as possible reclaim their land. And because
they reclaimed it before the war was over.
I don't think I don't off the top of my head, I don't think they reclaimed it before the war was over. But obviously, yeah, it was one of the as soon as well, I don't know. It's hard to say, isn't it? Because I guess. Maybe they did. It'd be interesting to actually look at
quite a bit of a spoke in there.
I mean, it's hard to say exactly. Yeah, when did the Norwegians regain control of their country? Because I can imagine, obviously, it was before the end of the Second World War. Because obviously, by the last few months, the Germans were basically completely on the back foot, just hemmed in Berlin and stuff. And I know they had to try and recruit little boys and that to fight in their armies, and that was brutal.
Oh man, I was reading this book the other day when I just on the flight about money. And did you hear about the plan that Hitler had over the war with money and the UK?
No.
So basically, there was this multi-year plan that he put in thing and he pulled Jews out of concentration camps and that used to be bankers and masterminds in banking and all this stuff to patch up a plan. Because he knew the power of money and economy and wealth and stuff like that, and destabilizing a currency. They just tried to create there was something like 300 billion or something pounds or 300 million pounds or whatever the number was that would be the equivalent of billions of pounds now, and he was just going to fly planes over and just drop the money onto England, all over England, to basically debase the currency. People would get it, and it's wartime, so they'd be and they keep it, but then that would bring the value of the pound down.
No, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And it was it took him 3 or 4 years to get it into place, but by the time it was in place and it was ready to go, he didn't have the resources to be able to fly the planes over England and actually drop the money. And I was well, I'd never heard of that before, but it was apparently this massive thing. That's interesting. There were loads and loads of really interesting different operations that were either either talked about and didn't actually come to fruition, or maybe even they tried to bring them to fruition but then they couldn't for whatever reason like that. But yeah, really interesting, man, isn't it? Really interesting. Fascinating stuff. Just another one, actually, a little one about the Christmas tree as well. Did you know, I think the largest ever Christmas tree that was ever actually used as a Christmas tree was something like a 260 foot tall like Douglas fir that was cut down and then actually used as a Christmas tree. But like, mate, I don't even know. Like, think about the amount of admin that would have to go into that. Do you know what I mean? The logistical issues of that. Like, a 260 foot tall tree is so massive. Think even a large blue whale maxes out at like 100 foot long, right? And then imagine a tree that's 260 foot tall, and then you're gonna have to somehow decorate that and everything. Like, that's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, and cut it down. Like, why don't you just decorate it while it's still just in the ground and call it a Christmas tree? You know?
I mean, to be fair, they might have actually done that. I don't actually know. They probably did that, didn't they?
Yeah, we've gone that way this year. Like, we've got a Christmas tree that's like living in a pot.
Oh,
so
right.
Like, it's rooted in a pot. So like, it's not small. It's like a normal size, but like, it won't grow more than what the pot will allow. So we're gonna just keep that each year and just put it somewhere out of the way.
That's a good idea.
I mean, so it's like,
so
you can kind of reuse it.
I've just looked it up. It wasn't 260 feet tall. It was 221 feet tall. Yeah, it was a Douglas fir harvested from Mount Rainier. Branches were removed for transport and reattached, with extra branches added to fill the crown, requiring 3,600 lights and a dedicated generator. Okay, so it was cut down. It was cut down and moved then. That's mad. Yeah, the tallest Christmas tree ever recorded was a 221 foot, that's 67.4 meters, Douglas fir, put up at the Northgate Shopping Centre in Seattle. Tell you what, that shopping centre must have been huge. Put up at the Northgate Shopping Centre in Seattle, USA, in December of 1950, holding the Guinness World Record for the tallest cut Christmas tree. In a separate category for trees decorated in their natural setting, a giant redwood at Cragside in the UK holds the record as the tallest bedded Christmas tree, standing over 146 feet tall as of December 2025. There you go.
Whoa, that's cool. Just a cool thing on redwood as well. I recently bought. I'm going to show you the picture, man. It's so cool. I've bought an ancient quilted redwood guitar top. That, like a cap that you get with a quilted maple. Or like the
man, that sounds amazing.
And it was storm felled 150 years ago in America, but the tree itself was over 2,000 years old. So it's like, over 2,000 years old, was felled like 150 years ago, and then it's been cut up into like some guitar wood, and man, it looks so cool. It's got all these ripples across it and everything. Like, I'll show you a picture after, but I'm gonna, like, at some point in the future, I'm gonna make a guitar out of it. But there was only like a few for sale up, and I thought, I've got to buy that.
Oh man, that sounds freaking amazing, dude. Oh, that's awesome. Right, let's wrap up our little PB Christmas special. This is the last PB of 2025. So yeah, we'll be back in the new year. I just want to say a big thank you to everybody that's listened to Pandora's Box this year and ever. Shout out to all of our friends of the pod out there. Thanks to all of the guests that have come on this year. We love you. We appreciate you. If you don't already follow us on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, please go and do that. Just type in Pandora's Box Podcast. Give us a like, subscribe, comment, whatever. Share it. We appreciate that. Really helps us out. And yeah, have a great Christmas, everybody. Have a great new year, and we shall see you soon. Cheerio for now.
Cheerio.